I've never heard of that being a party trick.
Yeah,
Like,
I've never heard of it
ever.
either,
when I was
Kevin.
drunk once.
So you did that at parties?
No, I did it at a party because I was just curious. Can I fit my fist in my mouth?
Wait, can we do that again? What was that?
Yep, definitely do that again. Awesome. Well, with that said, guys, we are live with episode number 100 of Truth Will Set You Free.
All I'm saying is, like, y'all are lucky. Like, the gay guys, I'm sorry, dude. I'm sorry I'm straight. I would have been great.
Dude, the freaking train in the background.
I know. I heard the train.
Hey, good time
Is that the Trump train in the background? Is that
right.
Ooh.
Oh man, where are we? Why now? Why now?
I said, why?
We're trying to go live. We're trying to. Jesus Christ.
I've never heard a train go
This
off
wouldn't
that
happen
much.
if you had a home, Anthony.
I know. This is really. Anyways, tell me how you guys are doing.
Great.
I'm doing as well as I
Mo
can.
got a break from the hell that we have been forced to live in for the past week. I took a break from the hellhole because people were getting mad at me for literally being objective and saying, well, let's just save it for the show. But I took a 2-day break. I couldn't be bothered with Instagram, Facebook, none of it. It is super toxic. That's what I will say. Super toxic environment.
I wish I could take a break. Oh.
Well, I accidentally had to take a break. Oh, I thought it was done. I thought it was done. Kevin, how's the radio? How's the radio show going? How's the radio show going?
It's going great. Common Nonsense is growing rapidly. We're doing a lot of great things, and so it's a lot of fun right now. It's draining. I wish I could take a 2-day break, but unfortunately, like I just can't throw dead air at the wind. I don't know. I keep telling my boss we can have a day of silence. It's okay. We'll just say it's a memorial. Who knows?
I think it's far enough in the distance now.
Are you safe?
I don't know. I don't know.
Maybe
I feel like zombies are gonna come attack us at any moment.
Anyways, I announced 1,800 barrel racers this weekend and kept track of times on all of that. It was a interesting weekend. Yes, it is our 100th episode. So I've been my voice didn't really go away. It was a little hoarse, but if saying names 1,800 times. What is the did you hear the train?
You literally said 1,800 horses' names.
1,800 horses' names.
You said it made you a little hoarse.
Wow.
Yeah, maybe a little horse.
How long were you doing that? Like how long?
All weekend.
Friday night was 5 until like 1. Saturday was 9 until midnight. 9 a.m. until midnight. Sunday was
I don't believe
10
you. Tell me all the horses' names in order.
Sunday was 10 a.m. until about 6 p.m. And then since I did such a great job, I was asked to do a military Memorial Day one the next day. And they're like, you don't really want to do it again. I'm like, I got nothing else to do. And then they gave free entries for Kelly for my work. So I was like, we're in. So anyways, it was fun. It was good stuff. So real quick, let's pay the bills. Somebody actually needs to actually buy some of this stuff. Anyways, friends, the world, by the way, Mo, you did a bang up job last week. And I hate to replay. Yeah, you did a good job on this, talking shit and shaming people for their haircuts. We'll talk about that in a little bit.
Oh God, do I have to do a public apology?
Yeah, you can do whatever you want. We'll talk about that in a sec.
Friends, not. I will disown you.
You don't have to do it. No. I'm going to apologize on behalf of you, not because you did anything wrong, but because people. We'll get back to that. Friends, the world is in serious danger now. Inflation is causing food prices to skyrocket. The global supply chain is continuing to collapse. There's egg factories on friggin' fire for God knows what reason. I bought 3 cartons to. Anyways, the food shortages will be worse than anything we've lived through. In times like these, what should we do? Learn how to breastfeed and learn how to make your own milk. Besides that, go to preparewithbtc.com and invest in long-term emergency food storage from My Patriot Supply while you still can. My Patriot Supply is the largest preparedness company in America with millions of satisfied customers. Their food lasts up to 25 years in storage. When you need it, you will have it, and you get to avoid government food lines. Act quickly, save $150 on our 3-month emergency food kit. We're coming soon into June. I don't know what the new thing is going to be. It's probably going to be like, buy some. But in the meantime, Go to preparewithbtc.com and save $150 on a 3-month food kit. And that's what you got. Go to preparewithbtc.com. Okay, moving on. I think we can get the show started. We got a lot to talk about. So let's go ahead and share it out there, guys. Let's get this party started. And it is officially back time. Oh, wait, no, not that. All right, go
Jesus.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. It is episode 100 of Truth Will Set You Free. It was meant to be a little bit of a celebration. Turns out the world has gone to shit week after week, so we've got a lot to talk about. Obviously, we're going to talk about Uvalde and gun control and non-gun control and people losing their minds. I didn't even look at what all the notes were for the show because that's going to be our main topic, or some of the other stuff. I know we're going to talk about the hoes from the ladies from The View. What else? I don't even have
Transgender Barbie.
Transgender Barbie. I didn't even look
Yes.
it up. We'll look that up as we go.
Laverne Cox. Well, we also
Laverne.
have Nancy Pelosi. Her husband got a DUI.
Hey, that's what it was. That
Yeah.
was the win of
Yes.
the weekend.
Yeah. We're gonna talk about those things. Please share this out there. What was the other thing? Oh, Leah Thomas. I'm gonna touch on this before we get
We're
started.
gonna
Real
touch
quick.
Leah Thomas.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you saw this. Leah Thomas finally clapped back, and they first off they're giving her more. He. Thank you. No, he's a he. Thank you. He clapped back. I say Leah. He clapped back, and he gave us a whole reason of they can say what they want. Fact is, he literally said this. You could tell that all women are built differently, and it's just ridiculous to judge. Me for how yes, women are built differently, but you are built even more differently than them. Shut up, go to your corner. And he goes, what is it? How can I not be allowed to compete in the sport that I love? You still can compete. Go be on a club. You know what? As I've said a million times, I love, let's use Casey because I always use myself. Casey loves bowling. He's not good enough to be a pro bowler. I might be with the right amount of practice, but we won't go there. Casey is not good enough to be a pro bowler. If he changed over to be a woman, maybe he would be. I don't know. Does that make it fair? Absolutely not. And based on his beard lately, he might be identifying that way. I don't know. But you know what? This has gotten ridiculous. And he's now grandstand. Get away. You're done. Your college. Get out. Goodbye. And Sports Illustrated, stop doing articles on it. Him. Anyways.
It's like what happened to sacrifice. Sorry, you're a man, right? And if you want to be a woman, unfortunately, because you're a man, you're not going to be able to compete in the sport you love. So which one is
go
more
wear
important?
dresses? Go do whatever you want.
Which one's more important? Obviously,
I don't care.
this.
You do whatever your heart desires. Stay away from our children. Go play with transgender Barbies. But I'm sorry, physically, you can't play against. And by the way, you still didn't even win everything, which means you're a shitty woman. Anyways.
I mean, he did beat an Olympic silver medalist.
He's not a shitty woman. He's a shitty man.
Bam. A weak man.
I thought he was a great woman because immediately he was competing at the top level of women. Okay.
And he didn't even win. All right. They tied. They tied.
I thought
they made her. No, they tied. They made her give him that was the first place.
No, that was third place. That was the third place one. That wasn't the way he won one of them. And again, I don't care if you're transgender. You do whatever the hell you want to do. But
what I want to do is compete.
You can't physically compete against women. I'm sorry. And you have a third fin in between your legs.
A third fin.
There's so many things wrong with that. Okay. Now they got that out. Let's see. Bump, bump, bump. All right. So what do we go? Let's give it a second. Let's a little pause before we go into Uvalde, because I think that's going to be a big thing on the whole episode. We're going to talk Brandon Tatum.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about, I'll talk about, what I've seen. I took a step back. I took some time. I looked at a bunch of different angles. I stopped looking at the influencer side of it. And then I went back to looking at the influencer side of it. Then I looked at the news. The news, by the way, has less information than the influencers by far. But let's ease into it with Transgender Barbie. Can anybody give me some info on Transgender Barbie?
Well,
Give me the story.
Laverne Cox, this dude right here. I'm not gonna call him a she because it's a him. They gave him a Barbie, and you see the backdrop. Barbie, you can be anything. No, you can't. This is directly targeted towards children. If anybody would want to get up here and challenge me on this, do it. All right, because every time I see Barbie, it's a cartoon on Netflix and it's under the what tab? The kids tab. So why are they marketing this to children? Like, why? Why should kids care that you decided to change your gender, unless you're trying to get kids somewhat on board with this to think it's okay? That's the only thing I can take from it.
That is literally what it is. Did you see what Libs of TikTok put out today?
No. Oh yeah. The drag queen in the middle school show.
Yeah, no, not just one. Tons of them. Yeah. I'm like looking through it. I'm like trying to find it right now. She Lives at TikTok. She put out what she calls the drag mega thread, although it looks like they went after her for it. But the mega drag thread. Here we go. Let me share this out. It's wild. She goes, not middle schools, preschoolers in a lot of these. They're literally going after preschoolers in a lot of these, right? This one right here. Let's see. Can we get it up? Okay. Yeah, that's what she said.
What? Like what?
Sorry.
What, bro? Like what?
This is out of Minnesota. This is a Minnesota gay nightclub held a drag show for children. This next one is a family pride day at a preschool.
Oh, it's only going to get worse. This Pride Month.
In Massachusetts. This is Dallas, Texas. Do you want to hit this the stage with the queens? Drag the kids to Pride event. Do you want to hit the stage with some queens? We have room for 5 young performers.
You gotta admit, the drag the kids is a creative play on words.
It is disgustingly creative. It is.
You got to get the left does have marketing. That's
what I tell like the gun lobby guys. Come on, what the hell? Oh my gosh. Yeah.
So Suni, I sent you a picture of the Barbie, of the Laverne Cox Barbie. Put that up there. Can we just talk about the guns on this freaking Barbie? Like the biceps, the shoulders, like insane.
I mean, can we?
Yeah.
I'm gonna bring some more up while you guys do that.
But I was reading that in 2019, they also released a doll fashioned after champion lesbian athlete Billie Jean King, and I sent that picture to Suni as well. But that just looks like a chick, and it looks like a very feminine chick at that. I don't have a problem with. I don't know. I don't have a problem with
gross.
Look at this.
I'm sorry. I have a problem with this. This is disgusting.
There are women built like that, like and they're competitors, and that's great. So why don't we give like physical fitness Barbie a shot, or like bodybuilding Barbie? Why don't you do that instead of using a man filling that position for it? It's utter and complete insanity and ignorance.
Right.
It's schizophrenia. I know people don't want to call it what it is, but this is schizophrenia. It's called delusions of grandeur. And we're literally buying into it as a country. Like, this is the mind fuck of my lifetime. I will never understand this. Is this the lesbian one?
Yeah, this is the
Well,
lesbian.
they don't know. Look, who cares if she's lesbian? We don't know.
Right.
Yeah, I don't care. I don't mind this one. It's Billie Jean King.
That's Billie Jean King. She was an icon.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
I like this one. Fuck Laverne Cox though, and I don't care who gets pissed off at me for it.
Billie Jean King's a great reference when we talk about Leah Thomas, because they say, well, Billie Jean King beat a man. Billie Jean King beat a 55-year-old man that used to be a pro. There's a huge difference. Jesus.
Oh god.
This drag team story time is designed for preschoolers.
Wow.
What hell? I would just love whoever put this together. I would love to just sit and ask them, Like, why? What are
Alameda
you trying
County.
to accomplish? I want to hear their explanation as to why this is important.
I'm going to say another point here because, again, we don't fully agree on this subject on a lot of ways. But I mean, I think we agree on the fact that this is absolutely
Look
absurd.
at this, man.
Sorry.
No, you're good. Yeah, no.
Listen, you want to know what I would have did? I would have took my fucking belt off and beat the shit out of my kid on that stage.
What in the hell?
That's gross. Sorry.
Impressive moves on one.
Wait, whoa. What is that? Is he Russian? What is that?
No, it's called voguing.
Oh my god, my Twitter's being done. But you get the picture. Live to TikTok has been just on putting this shit on blast the last day and a half. Just like she's sick and tired of it. You can tell because everything on her page is elementary schools, preschools doing this stuff, not middle schools and high schools.
No, it's and this is where it's a problem, and that's where we all agree on this. At the same token, you know, from the and this is what's the guy that you had on your show? That dress up as a woman, the MAGA
Lady MAGA.
Lady MAGA. What I will say is Ryan. So Lady MAGA has done like whenever I see his stuff pop up, he slams the shit out of this stuff. He talks about how horrific it is, how horrible it is. And I get that he is part of that problem, quote unquote. But I think it's important for people like that to realize, you know what? I'm a little different. I have my issues, and to see what they're doing to children is just not okay. So I think I give him a lot of props for that.
Ryan does the same thing. We'll give him props for what? He takes pictures with children.
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean?
And
I don't, same thing.
And I don't know that we need to make a Barbie for everybody that has an issue, right? Like, do you have to have like a substance abuse Barbie for a kid who has a substance abuse problem? You know what I mean? Like, not everything.
We all know Barbie had a coke problem.
Right. Probably. I mean, I'm sure she probably did. She had to. You know, so I don't know. Like, I just think we're making it too comfortable for people to be different, you know, whereas like before, like, and I understand that people are different. I get that, but we don't need to like mainstream everything. You know what I mean? Like some things need to be kept very like bottom shelf brown paper bag. They don't need to be put out in front of everybody. I don't know.
I agree. Anyways, well, that was one good looking Barbie. At the gym, lifting more weight than I can. Let's see, definitely more weight than Kevin can. Let's see, where do we go next? We have so many different things to cover. Let's next talk about the DUI. You want to do? The view leads into Uvalde and everything. So
that makes sense.
So let's really quick. Let's do. Oh, I totally skipped this. So for the few people that came in the comments, and then those that got really angry about last week. First off, I do want to tell Suni and Mo, you guys did a phenomenal job. I love talking shit sometimes about people. I wouldn't have done it the same way you guys did, but it was your show. And you know what? If it's your show, you can get mad at Mo. You can get mad at Suni, and they'll tell you, you know what? I don't fucking care. And that's totally fine. To yell at me and say Cash would be ashamed or this is... knock, knock. Who's there? Fuck off. I mean, in all reality, guys, like, I get it. Like, I wouldn't have said it the same way. I actually was surprised Mo went as hard as she did. But you know what? You come on to a show that you get to participate in. You don't get to go on Anderson Cooper's show and put in the little comments like, hey there, Q-tip, you're a piece of shit. You don't get to. So you get to do it here. We do it for free. We do this because we enjoy providing truth, having a conversation, and spreading this kind of best case information that we can do and have a little fun with it at the same time. They were having a little fun. You took it serious. That made them get a little bit more mad. That's where it ended up. I apologize that it happened on the channel, but at the same time, the rest of the show is 99% good. That's my opinion.
And the thing that's ignorant is Cash has blown up people before too. He is definitely
way worse. Way worse.
What was her name again? Because I forgot. She's already.
It was no, it wasn't Nancy Smith.
It was Rhonda.
Barbara.
Not Rhonda Stremmel.
Rhonda Smith.
Okay, it was some annoying name like that. Anyways, Rhonda. First of all, you got a little too triggered by this. Like, all I said was in your picture, you looked a little butch, which I still stand by that. Okay. You may be really freaking hot for all I know, and that's great for you. Like, why you had to come back with the I'm a cunt and all this other shit that you said
You can't say the C
makes
word.
I'm sorry. Makes me see you next Tuesday. See you next Tuesday.
You already said it.
Okay. Makes me think that I triggered something in you, and maybe there's something there, and I'm sorry. Like, if you got triggered by whatever I said, I am sorry that you have some unresolved issues, but like, it really wasn't that serious. Like, you're really not that relevant.
Like when we go hard on Suni about lesbian things and she feels super uncomfortable, we know there's some underlying stuff that we know. It's okay. I'm kidding, Suni.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
When I make jokes about being able to swallow my microphone, Suni just
Okay. Well,
Oh,
I brought
Hey,
you back up.
I'm gonna be the asshole of the bunch. I'm not saying sorry.
You don't have to. I
um,
never said you did.
No, I'm
Nobody
just I'm piggybacking off of Mo because it was our show. I'm not saying sorry. You were throwing inflammatory things in the comments, and look, 99% of her comments we literally ignored. If you go back to the show, we weren't even acknowledging her. So look, if you can't handle the internet, get up off the shit.
Stay off of
Okay.
it.
If the shoe fits, wear that bitch. If it don't, keep it moving, bro.
And that's what's funny
It's
is
that
like
simple.
we supposedly offended her early on, and she stayed the entire show.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, she stayed past the show. She went in because apparently she joined the
She
Be the
wrote an email.
Change accountability and health group, and she was so excited to be a part of it. And then she did the show. She was like, I can't be a part of anything in this because you should have seen what I did see, and you were just as ugly. Like, you could have been like, yeah, it was my best haircut. My bad. And,
Yeah,
Right.
It wasn't that serious.
Hey, look, all I know is Suni, I got to admire you for this because you're putting on my best favorite.
Next for me, Joe. I want to get that second belt. What the f is it? They should have had them two belts ready, special for me. You don't know how it's never been done before. I'm sure you'll get your second belt.
Wait for it.
I've spent a lot of time, Joe, slaying everybody in the company. Backstage, I'm starting fights off everybody. I've ridiculed everyone on the roster. I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, I'd like to take this chance to apologize to absolutely nobody.
yes!
Let's go.
And that is Suni.
Apologize for shit.
now that we broke all copyright rules, it was worth it though.
Yeah. Oh, damn. This
Yeah.
one's not copyrighted. This is some random dude.
it's UFC.
Yeah,
But
no,
anyways,
but
it was funny and it was worth it. Who knows if they're even
copyrighted for it.
watching anymore anyways. Let's see, we got what we're going to talk about Nancy Pelosi. So I always have, like, this is my thing, and I get that people get DUIs. First off, my question now becomes, now this is a big deal, by the way. Because of Canadian law, he's no longer allowed in Canada, or, the BFFs to this administration. So is he not? Are they going to ban him from Canada like a normal U.S. citizen or not? Out of curiosity.
Probably not. They're above the law. You know that. None of these laws apply to them.
God, it's so evil.
Yeah.
Now here's
All throughout.
So here's the thing: there's people that get DUIs, and it's dangerous to drive drunk. It's also, somebody has a couple drinks at a bar, they do something stupid, they go home. Hopefully they don't kill anybody. They get caught, they get a DUI. They can't afford a $30 Uber. They should still spend the money on it, obviously, or they should find a different means or a designated driver, etc. You have $150 million because of insider trading that your wife helped you with. You can't afford a fucking car service,
Right?
Yeah.
Oh,
Or like butler or anything just to drive you around.
not on a politician's salary, damn it.
Look, he wanted to drive, so he was like, "I'm just about to. They gonna catch me riding dirty out here," and they called his ass lacking. Nothing's gonna happen to him, though. Like nothing's gonna happen
something's
to
gonna
this
have
guy.
to happen because this one's high profile as shit.
There is no. Look, hey, before we
Nothing's
move
gonna
on,
happen.
Sussman is high profile, and he just got the fuck off. So
Right.
Do you think a DUI? The DUI is not going to do a damn thing.
You're logically speaking, yes, Sussman is much bigger. We're talking about the American public. The average American conservative definitely cares way more about Nancy Pelosi's husband getting a DUI.
I just want to ask: is driving drunk against the law? There's like laws and like legislation passed on that, right?
Yes.
So if that doesn't stop Nancy Pelosi's husband from doing it, what's going to stop people from shooting people and committing crimes and all this other stuff, right?
I know, right?
How many drunk drivers kill
There's our argument.
underage children per year too? I mean, I know it's not.
Oh,
not
it's like the
same.
second leading cause of death for young kids.
It's
Soccer mom. The soccer mom driving her kid to school is more dangerous than the shooter.
This should be a gigantic deal. He did not kill anybody. He did get in an accident, but
Well,
this is.
he
I
did?
mean, that is.
He killed his brother when they were younger in an accident, in a rollover accident.
They when they were 19. I mean, that was back when cars were. I mean, they're pretty damn old. That's back when cars were like
28 people per day die in drunk driving accidents.
Wow. How many people die of ARs? Let me shut up.
Guess what I just bought today?
13 million per day.
You bought one? Lit. Nice.
Well, it's a AR style.
Okay.
But,
hey, just add a bunch of mods on it and make it look big and scary.
Oh, it's fun. It's either way. It'll be fun. So,
do we have a mugshot of him yet?
Oh, there's no way he got a mugshot.
No. They deleted that shit on arrival. It took the picture. And
I want to see what his face looked like. Like, they already look like they're just full of liquor. But
only a badass would leak that.
Dude.
Was that a stoner laugh right there?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it was.
Yes.
Because like I'm laughing at the statistic of how many people are killed by rifles every year.
Oh,
Well,
it's
you know, that's
364.
That's Statista or whatever you want to call it. So whatever you want to call that thing. First off, I have some questions about that data, and we can go ahead and just talk about it right now. But we'll get fully into the discussion.
364 out of 35,000
Yeah, but
gun deaths.
Don't forget ARs also have handgun versions.
Yeah,
which is kind of like the one I got. So they've got the handgun grip, so that would not count as a rifle, and those are ARs, probably a little bit more interesting for younger, but again, you can't
each state handles those differently and reports
each state handles the report, and there is a whole section on that Statista thing that does say unknown firearms. So I have some questions on how many are. I still firmly believe that it's for the most part handguns, but again, I think that Statista statistic is hard to interpret based on
you can even pull up the FBI rules. They break it down by weapons as well.
They have a big section, I think, of unknown as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm reading it from the FBI, so I was going to let you go through that, but I'm reading the FBI statistics.
Yeah.
So, the FBI does break it down by like rifles to handguns to knives and all the other things, and the FBI will classify AR pistols as rifles for the purpose of this. At least that's what I'm under the impression of. But
so
it's not registered like that in Utah when you're purchasing it. No.
Well, the purchases shouldn't be registered whatsoever. The purchases aren't registered. What they're registering is the actual like cause of death.
Okay.
Like, so you're gonna determine it's a rifle because it was a 223 or a 5.56 or 30-06, something
bullet.
like that.
Yeah.
No, because you can get an AR pistol that's this big, literally this big, and it shoots a 223.
Yeah, it's shooting.
That's not a rifle. That's a pistol.
That's a rifle. That's a rifle round. That's a rifle. They will qualify that as a rifle. They're going to be going based off of caliber. Because like the crimes, they're not solving these crimes. They're just identifying the shooting.
Then how do you handle the 50 caliber? Then how do you handle the 50 caliber handguns versus the rifles? You can't.
The amount of those that exist is exceedingly low, first and foremost. So if like the amount of 50 cal deaths is like 20 per year, then like it doesn't matter either way. But the point of the fact of the matter is that they're not solving these murders. If you look at what's going on in Chicago, they're classifying them. They're not solving the murders. They're looking at the caliber of bullet that is used in the crime and judging based off that if it's going to be a rifle or a pistol. Sure, there are some rifles that shoot 9 mils. Sure, there are some pistols that shoot potentially 223, but the overlap for them is they're going to qualify all 223 as rifle and all 9mm as handgun.
I have to
I just
read
saw-
more about that.
I just saw an article. Yeah, I don't see a lot of people. What is it? The desert? What is that? 50 caliber handgun?
Desert Eagle.
The Desert,
Desert
Eagle.
Eagle.
I don't see a lot of people being like, "Yeah, I capped that guy with my Desert Eagle." I don't think that happens very often.
Because most people couldn't even handle firing that gun in the first place.
Yeah, exactly.
But the point is I'm making is if they're going based strictly off of caliber, that's a ridiculous way of doing it. Because here in Utah, which is probably one of the most freest states for guns in the country, that you can do all kinds of things. Like you can get an AR that's the size of just a little bit bigger than a pistol, and that's considered a rifle. And I can practically just hide it into a big coat and can still carry it. Pretty much, it's ridiculous.
Kind of like you're still got a 30-round mag. You're still going to have about a 7 to 9 inch barrel on it. So it's going to be like my VP9 has like a 2 1/4 inch barrel on it.
Yeah, 7.
But like it's not concealable in the nature that it would be claimed. And then to make it as concealable as a pistol would make it, the point being that rifles are involved in an exceedingly low amount of actual murders because pistols are just more easy to get and what have you.
Well, and you don't detect them as easily, right? Because they can be concealed, like we just talked about. But my thing is, I'm just pointing out that data is a little weird. If that's all they're going off of is the caliber, I don't like that. I don't think that's accurate. But
that probably isn't.
There's an interesting story that just popped up on my CNN. I wonder if they know who they're actually talking about. But there's an article that just came out. How fast you walk could be a sign of dementia. A slower walk as you age has always been a warning sign of increasing frailty that could lead to falls and other disabilities. Did they realize they're talking about Joe Biden in this
I was just going to
article?
say, can we get a radar gun on Joe Biden walking on stage?
Oh my God! Like, I guarantee you, as they like hit send on, like, oh, this is gonna be great. Oh shit.
That's not gonna age well.
Yeah, I see what you did there. These results highlight the importance of gait in dementia risk assessment. So even the gait on top of it, man.
Don't say gait.
Jesus. Okay. Speaking of gait, you saw Bill Gates at WHO admitting that the vaccines really have very little effect. Theoretically have very little effect on actually preventing COVID. He actually admitted that in front of the WHO. Crazy.
Yeah, taken an entirely different stance. It's almost like they overshot the mark and they're like, holy crap, there's no legitimacy. These people just got warned of the monkeypox and they told you to fuck off.
Wait, did you guys see that the CDC and the WHO came out and said that monkeypox is primarily transmitted through sexual activity between men?
Yeah.
You see that?
That's
so
how
why
it
the
spread.
fuck are countries locking down? Like what?
Because everybody's gay.
Well, and apparently there was a big festival in Europe where
That's
a lot
how
of
it
And
started.
it's June. So I get it. It's June. It's Pride Month. Fucking
Oh.
month, and we got to deal with this crazy shit.
This shit is about to change tomorrow. Every single company across America is about to splash a rainbow on everything.
I'm glad
It's already happened,
that.
dude.
Just remember, if you want to keep your Twitter normal, just subscribe to the Russian and Saudi versions of all these companies.
Dude,
Yeah.
I can tell you right now, it's already happening at my work. They've listed like this gigantic paragraph outlining all of the events for Gay Pride and all of this stuff. And I'm like,
Bro.
leave Slack channel. I'm
Yeah.
sure everybody's like,
I gotta send out an email to my boss asking him when we're flipping over the our gun rights page to have pride colors all over it.
Listen,
So here,
I would be in jail for burning a pride flag.
I got a
Like, I would
question.
do it in front of everyone.
I have a serious question. If we care about pandemics, would this not be in the fact that this monkeypox situation with all 37 people that have it started in a gay festival in Europe, and this is about to be the month of nothing but gay festivals in the United States? I would say that we should cancel these festivals because
Absolutely.
this
The
if
super
we're-
spreader.
if we're playing by the science,
No.
where's Fauci to be like,
Right.
we
This
need
is
to
a
keep
super
these gay
spreader
people-
event.
Dang. So I guess, dang.
We
It's
should
probably
close-
going to come off really harsh,
Uh-oh.
but like
Trigger
natural
warning.
selection is amazing. I'm just saying. Natural selection. Let's not shut anything down. and let's just let nature take its course.
Darwin.
Go ahead, Casey.
No, I just wanted to sneak in Darwin.
But what about like the unlucky dudes that go into a bar and think they found like a really hot blonde chick and they get her back? And
there's
maybe,
that.
Maybe
like,
you shouldn't be so thirsty with
trap.
them beer goggles.
And
It's called being thirsty and having beer goggles.
Yeah.
Somewhere in a gay club, Barbara is triggered right now.
Well, and then you've got a black cat walking through this parking lot. That can't be a good omen.
There's another train coming.
I'm telling you, bro, the zombies are coming to get Russo. You look like you're in a perfect setting for zombies to just appear.
I'm thinking,
Totally.
All I gotta say is like I saw ammunition got cheap again, and I'm ready for that zombie apocalypse.
So here's my thought: is there's going to be a lot of unfortunate wives that don't realize their husband's been on the down low for the last 5 years, and all of a sudden, like after Pride Month,
coming home with monkeypox.
He was out with the boys again last night. They were drinking and having a good time. No, he was actually at a post-Pride event getting pounded by Bruce, and now he's taking monkeypox back to the missus.
Hey, I'm gonna start a hashtag. All right, let's not even fight against Pride Month. All month, guys. Let them have free reign. Okay?
Pounded by Bruce.
There we go, and we'll just hashtag natural selection. Anytime I see a Pride anything, I'm going to hashtag that in the comment section.
Oh, you're gonna get booted.
Hey, it's all good. It's all good. We'll see if YouTube boots me.
Bye to all Sunni social media profiles.
Russo's like, what the fuck, girl?
See what happens. Sussman. So yeah, I guess we talked quickly about Sussman. Oh God, Bonnie's dispensary is donating a half of their revenue to Pride Month. So I told them to see you next month. I mean, maybe you should just go to a different dispensary the month after too. Like
in general.
I mean, again, you know what? I don't. Do what you want to do. I don't fucking care. Anyways, so Sussman. So this is the problem with everything. Like this is why when you bring up issues with the election, and everybody's like, "Oh, we found it." God, I had somebody message me that hasn't messaged me in like a year that was like, "We got him." I'm like, "We got what?" And like it's all coming down.
There's a reason I haven't talked about it on my show.
Yeah.
But anyway, so you look at Sussman, and there is no humanly possible way this man could be innocent. But what people don't know, they just see the innocent. The left will just go, "Oh, see, again, you guys, you're fucking idiots. You're going crazy about nothing." What they don't know is that the judge didn't allow incredibly important evidence that was a hammer that would have put it down. The judge is also, which we said on day one, shouldn't have been the judge on this case because she's got tied to Hillary. She's tied to Hillary Clinton. She's tied to that whole campus. She's tied to all of them. Like, how could this be the person? There was also questions in the jury that somehow they were allowed to let go. Durham tried to fight back. He had to choose, like, do I have this? Do I have it or not? So here we are. Sussman gets off. This is the beginning. There is literally one of the guys in the organization turned on all of them, ratted them all out, and they still can't prosecute. This is how fucked up of a country we are in right now.
Did you see the statement that Durham issued after the verdict came down? He said, "While we are disappointed in the outcome, we respect the jury's decision and thank them for their service. I also want to recognize and thank the investigators and the prosecution team for their dedicated efforts in seeking truth and justice in this case." What?
How Sway?
How much money did he get?
Right?
Well, he's on the prosecution. So you always come out. That's like legal etiquette 101. You come out and you thank the jury for their service. That's what you do. That's like
come on now. I'm gonna push back a little bit.
No.
Come on. At what point do people put aside the etiquette and say, this is wrong? This guy's fucking guilty.
When you want to take it to appeals, right? Because they're gonna appeal this.
Is this speculation or is this you knowing that they're going to appeal?
Like, I don't see why he wouldn't appeal this. Like,
so it's speculation at this point.
So yeah, it is. Okay, so it's speculation. But if you're going to appeal this, you need to be able to present it in a way where you haven't tainted things afterwards. You have to keep it on the hush hush, so you're not tainting public opinion. So the court can't be like, no, like public opinion tainted. There is no way that this could actually.
All right, so we'll
be
see
retried
in 10 years when this is not brought back up.
No, you're 100% correct on that, though. You're 100% correct on that. But like at the same time, it is standard etiquette. You come out, you thank the jury, you thank your prosecutors for trying, and you figure out a way. Because I guarantee you, Durham wants to do something about this. He doesn't.
See, this
federal
is why I'm
prosecutors
not a
don't like
lawyer.
losing.
This is why I'm not in the justice system, because I have no chill. I would fuck the whole case up for everybody, especially if there was
I
an
know that's
outcome
right.
that I know is wrong, bro. I'm singing like a canary. I'm sorry.
They could try to appeal on the grounds that the judge was compromised, that the jury was not impartial, and they could try to get a retrial or something like that, or get a mistrial. But like at the end of the day, like the American people were failed by the justice system, because we remember Ghislaine Maxwell's, the prosecutor in the Ghislaine Maxwell was James Comey's daughter. It was the prosecution that made sure that the little black book was not revealed, not the defense. The prosecution ensured that. Like, did we expect anything different from the campaign, the trial that could condemn Hillary Clinton?
No, just like they didn't do shit about the election, allegedly.
Like, that's we should not. You're muted, Anthony. Yeah,
I see that now. Probably better.
yeah.
Okay, so do we have anything else major until we get into the main show topic, obviously, of the evening?
Well, just the
Canada.
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 You know
Canada.
what, Casey? I'm gonna be real, bro. If Canada, okay, if Canadians go through with listening to Justin Trudeau,
Mhm.
I don't give a fuck about Canada.
They already don't have a lot of guns. They already don't have.
Like,
They don't
It doesn't
have-
matter. The people there that understand what's about to happen, if they stop the sale of it, I don't give a shit about Canada. It's another Australia. Goodbye.
Yeah.
Did you know they snuck in the bill? It's hidden that it's a forced buyback of AR-15s.
yeah.
I
It's
saw
not
that.
just a handgun thing. Like,
But
Yeah.
they don't
everybody
have a
just keeps talking.
constitution. They're allowed to do that. Like they
Correct.
Yeah,
are.
they're the queens.
know,
and
they're
that-
the queens
And
vote.
that's why I wanted to talk about Canada, is why the Constitution is so important, that everybody keeps saying, oh, it's Constitution of Whoopi Goldberg, which we'll probably get into in a minute.
Bill of Rights.
They're freaking nuts. The Constitution is very important, and it does protect our rights. And that is why we have that. Canada doesn't have that. And look what they just did. They just took away a bunch of rights, just like that. Swipe of a pen. And that's why it's important to talk about it. But yeah, if the citizens don't stand up and fight back, then you're right, Suni. Unfortunately, it is what it is.
Who was it that said
ahead.
people in democracies deserve what they vote for, and they deserve it hard as hell?
Yep.
Yep.
Straight up.
Yeah.
Straight up. I agree with that.
Yeah.
And you've got Rosie O'Donnell that made a statement that it is time to get rid of the Second Amendment, and it's like, oh my
She's
god.
Look, so
She's a
Casey,
fucking-
I
She
want to
said
push
she was
back.
moving to Canada when Trump got elected.
She's
Can you just
She's
go
still
there?
here.
Yeah,
She
the
should-
food
she-
wasn't good enough in Canada.
They didn't have they exceeded the weight limit. Anyways, though, but I want to push back a little bit, Casey. This isn't why the Constitution is important. This is why the Bill of Rights is important. The Constitution
fair.
outlines the tools, the mechanisms that the government can
Those
use
amendments.
to overcome the Bill of Rights, and it has used it very well. And I would agree with the people that say the Constitution is not good enough. The Bill of Rights is just an enumeration of what we know to be true. The Constitution is a piece of paper. The Bill of Rights, you would still have the freedom of speech. If the Bill of Rights didn't exist, it would just be, does the government recognize it or not? Or is there anything saying that it has to be recognized? So I would just push back and say,
No,
you
that
know
makes
what?
sense.
I understand the Constitution being under attack because it is a piece of paper, but the Bill of Rights outlines the very core tenets of what it means to be an American, at least the first, 14 amendments.
Sure.
Yeah, man.
I don't disagree with you. Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to get into this topic. We're going to talk about the view. We're going to talk about, obviously, all of the opinions on Uvalde. It's probably going to take an hour. We're going to talk for a while. This is an important topic. This is also leading into a little bit of my break from some of this. This doesn't mean I'm not going to continue to do little spot videos and different stuff. And actually, I'm supposed to interview a doctor before next week regarding some cardiac stuff. Maybe we'll put a 5-minute bit up on next week's show. I don't know. Anyways, Casey, Mo, Kevin, and Suni are going to be having a good time. They're going to be hosting. They're going to bring other people up, and they're going to have a good whatever. I'm going to take a month, maybe a month and a half. I want to focus on blunt force discussion, put that up and get that going and focus my time on that. And this is why we're having this discussion about this event in Uvalde, from a mental perspective, not in terms of did it break me? Did I go to my safe space and yell in the room? I just think that at this point, and I'm wearing, ironically, I wore my I will not surrender shirt as I'm saying I'm taking some weeks off, but I think the importance for the irony is not dead to me. There is a level of like, honestly, Mo and Suni and Kevin and Casey have an ability to just kind of talk shit and be entertaining, and I know that I can make jokes and I'm fun with that, but right now I just don't know. I don't know what the purpose is behind my words specifically. So I'm going to hold after this week, and again, not fully. I'm going to be talking like real quick, 5-minute bits here and there. But in terms of having this conversation, I don't know if I'm equipped to have it the way that I want to have it, or the power that this show I think should have with the cast that we have, with the talent that we have, the ability to have conversation that we have. So part of me is figuring out how to retool and come back, and you guys are going to continue to build the show and grow the show and do whatever, and hopefully I can come back with a way of going, you know what, I got an idea, and we're going to make this where people actually going to hear our voice and where we can actually have some kind of impact. Because what I've seen from this shooting and what I've seen from the influencers and the vitriol and everybody thinking their idea is the best idea, and yes, the blind protection of the police and then the blind ridicule of the police, it's fucking ugly. And there is no, and I love the fact that Suni is shaking her head yes on this one, because sometimes it's hard for me to go like, this one's a gray area, and I think we all realize that this is a gray fucking area, and there is no positive right now except for continuing to be decent to each other, and the blessings that I had this weekend by being around people that almost just didn't give a shit. By the way, 98% of them are on the right, and the side on the right just doesn't hate people, contrary to what the left believes. Doesn't matter their race, doesn't matter their sexuality, doesn't matter any of it. They just all enjoy each other's fucking, and they don't get into each other's business. They do what they do, and they are kind to each other, and they love each other. And I want to get back to that. So hopefully I can find a way to present more solutions instead of just my thought of answers. So
I just want to say I'm so happy for you, because me and Suni talked about that last week. Like, I'm going through that still trying to figure it out. And you want to get back to that place that we all used to be at, where we didn't talk about this shit all the time, where it like consumed our life. And you feel like if you're not talking about it, who are you? What are you? It gets overwhelming sometimes.
Yeah.
And when I was away in Colorado and I was like in these little tiny remote towns, like where there was nobody talking about this stuff, like we hardly had internet access. It felt so good. Like, I did not care. And I don't want to say I didn't care about these little kids or anything like that. That's not what I'm saying. I'm talking about all the infighting that goes on between everybody. It's so ugly. And at the end of the day, and Suni, I love your opinions about stuff. I love Tatum's opinions about stuff. I love other people's opinions. But at the end of the day, we're not solving anything. We really aren't. We're not solving anything. And that's the part that gets me so frustrated, is we're supposed to be change makers. We're supposed to be influencers, and we're not influencing shit.
The last thing I'll say before we get started, and then I'll give it up, is, I was watching like the news in the background. I'm mad at Sports Illustrated for giving more attention to Leah Thomas. At the same time, I'm seeing them talk about the NBA playoffs, and almost this is another problem. In the back of my head, I'm getting angry. I'm like, is that what you're worried about? And I'm like, holy shit, that's stupid. Thank God for sports. Even though I may not pay attention to sports anymore, thank God that there's people that have other interests. Can you imagine if we all had the same passion towards politics? So, you know what? Find an outlet. Find that other sport right now. Honestly, disappear if you can. And we're about to get on the conversation of guns. But at the end of the day, social media and guns, the world would be so much better with zero guns and zero social media. But guess what? Neither are going away. And in fact, is the only people that are going to be willing to give them up are the ones that need to have them. Same with social media. For people to spread that kind of information. I miss the days of people's children being the only thing you saw, in us going, God, if I see Nancy's fucking kid one more damn time jumping in a pool, if we could only have that time back. And instead, the last
Yeah.
week has shown that there is only one purpose. And even after the shooting, our social medias were flooded with anti-America algorithms, which was even scarier to me. That somehow
Yeah.
my Twitter or my TikTok was all of a sudden a bunch of foreign countries talking about how shameful it is to be an American. I was like, how did they do that? Those sandbagging
Yeah,
son
man.
of a bitches.
Yeah.
Well, you know what,
Like-
Russo? Everyone has their own lane. Like there's a necessity for conversations like this, but sometimes there's also a necessity for like, okay, let's stop. What's the solution? This is one of those situations where there is no solution. It doesn't matter how many security guards you put in the school. City managers are still going to have their budgets. Politicians are still going to be corrupt. They're still not going to be giving money where it needs to be allotted to. But we're just, it's kind of like monkey in the middle. You got both sides pointing at each other, and we're just in the middle trying to intercept the ball and stop the ridiculous game. But everyone has their lane. They really do. I actually find a bit of strength in meeting people who are not so much like discord, but I like the confrontation, because when you have confrontation with people who are willing to have conversations, honestly, you come out to a understanding that none of us know what the fuck's going to go on after this. None of us, none of us have the answer. So what people are doing is defending their sides, and you got this side defending their side, like you mentioned earlier. And then you have those of us who are in the middle, just like, oh, I can see both sides. Like, I get it. So I think there's a necessity for both. There's a necessity for these hard conversations that may get heated, and there's a necessity for the conversations that are solely geared towards solutions and how we can actually change something.
Well, I think we also have to acknowledge as well. So like I totally get where you're coming from. Like both, like all you, like I fully get it. And Anthony, as far as like taking that, needing that mental break, needing to figure it out, like, yeah, there is something special. This is why it pisses me off so much when there's politics in sports. I love cricket. I love Formula One. I love soccer. Why? Because when I turn those on and watch those, I'm not getting preached to. I don't have to care about any form of politics. I just get to watch a race, or I just get to watch a cricket match, or I just get to watch a soccer match, right? It's different countries. It doesn't matter. And there's something to be said for the fact that we need to be able to express ourselves through other outlets, and we need to be able to take that mental break, because this is a very toxic field to be in always. It's especially poignant right now, but it's always a toxic field to be in, because politics at its very core is who gets power. That's what it comes down to. And since that exists, we have to acknowledge the fact that we're in the predicament we are now, specifically because we spent too much time trying to avoid talking about this. We spent too much time not focused on it. We
100%.
The conservative side of the aisle abdicated the culture for a solid 50 years at minimum. Completely abdicated culture, and we wonder why our culture has swung completely in one direction. The kind of people that are thirsting for this power, that are making advances towards this power, they understand why is the left so successful? Everything is politics. You make everything politics, and that's how you win the game.
Agreed. And I mean, and that's even part of this whole, and again, I don't want people are gonna be like, you've been on just as much as you were before, you're just not doing the show. The show just takes a lot of the time, and I would love to see a conversation without me. That's part of it. But we're at this point now, it's like even the Emily situation. I never once called anybody fat. I literally put a picture. This is somebody that should be respected. Like, the fact that we are at a place in this country, and it goes to exactly Kevin's point, we can't say anything that would make a difference if it offends somebody.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? If I'm telling somebody that's an actual factual statement on how to help their life, but maybe it doesn't come off perfectly nice and you're offended by it, God blessed, we need to be in a better place. And that's why we have stupid fucking things happen like this shooter. This is why, and people and the left will go, oh, you're going to say because you can't,
well,
food shame somebody that's why we have a shooter. Yes.
Anthony, you just said something huge. Can I bounce an idea off you?
Absolutely.
So you mentioned what you mentioned right there. Part of what we advocated was We abdicated the influence, right? So why did the pharmaceutical companies have the ability to start just dumping drugs into kids' heads? There's a correlation that most of these events have that people aren't talking about because of what the pharmaceutical industry itself has done. So, we abdicated our ability to say, no, stop taking our culture. We abdicated building strong men, especially. We said, no, we'll let you solve their problems with medicine rather than doing what has been the guiding principle for men for thousands of years. Look, shit sucks.
Yeah, man.
You're gonna have to get through it.
Yeah. And before we get fully into the conversation, I'm going to drop the show. I'm putting the Patreon in there. It's just the blunt force discussion is what I'm going to be working on. The first show is with Chad Prather. If you guys want to keep paying attention to that, there's a lot of Patreon supporters from Cash that are still here on the regular Truth Will Set You Free Be the Change Patreon. I'm fully funding this. It's an extremely expensive show. It's about $3,000 a month. If you guys want to be a part of it or no advertisers, there it is. Now, from this point forward, we're only talking about news. So I want to first off, who wants to talk about the police response first?
I've had to eat some crow over this one real quick. So I want to say, look, it was really easy to jump on it right away. Suni, I feel like you're going to agree. All I know is we need an investigation into what happened.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much that simple. This department, these officers were not prepared. And I know some people are going to take offense to that, but within that 40 minutes, towards the end of this, towards this coming to an end, there was a little girl who was shot dead. While they're waiting for equipment, while they're waiting for keys, while they can't properly do their job, solely because of budgets. Like, if we're gonna be honest, this has got to do with budgeting. This has to do with training. This has to do with cops not getting the things that they need because of bureaucratic bullshit, and it cost 21 people their lives. I think it's pretty simple. I don't think there needs to be anything else discussed outside of this needs to be fixed, and this police department was not prepared. Anything else,
they're not alone.
They're not
alone by far.
They're not.
Most small towns are not equipped for
no,
this.
Not at all. I compared Tyler, Texas, and Uvalde. And the budgets are horrible. Like, horrible. I see Grant Bull, that department gets 40% of the town's budget. But what you don't know, and I posted this, is there's an actual breakdown of where this money is allocated. And the majority of it didn't go to the police department. It went to the brass.
Yeah, administration.
It went to salary. It didn't go to training. It didn't go. Look, I think it was like $20,000 for office supplies. What the hell is that going to buy? There's 21 officers there.
Hey, you can break down a door with Post-it notes.
Come on. For me, it's that simple. Some people are being sensitive, or they feel the need to defend cops. I'm not saying that cops are bad. I think cops were dealt a bad hand, and they did what they could do. And unfortunately, it just wasn't enough.
Suni,
it wasn't enough.
It sounds like you're suggesting we should defund the police.
Not at all. I'm saying we should fund them, like give them.
No, I know.
No, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. I'm saying defund the brass. That's what needs to be talked about.
8 weeks prior to this, they discussed doing a. Actually, I believe as though they had a meeting on active shooter situation like this. So they had just had some kind of a meeting, but I don't know if they had full training. But fact is, did anybody in the meeting go, hey, just in case, what happens if they lock a door that we can't get into? And it didn't come up, apparently. So not. Again, there is the police chief is a huge problem. Was it the chief? The chief is the one that's not cooperating, correct?
That's the school resource police officer, not Uvalde.
Okay, never mind.
Got it. Okay.
So
I think the chief also came out and had some pretty had some quite a bit of pushback. I'm trying to find my phone.
Well, I mean, there's even pushback with that. I found it funny because I just saw Tatum posts a video where he's literally showing a police officer on the media saying, well, officers didn't do nothing. He's like, see, I told y'all. But when we're using the same media sources like the brass that's coming out and speaking, the officials, well, you can't trust that. People are fucking confused.
But I think the video that I don't know if you're talking about the same one. Are you talking about the one with the lady?
No, I'm talking about the police officer that came out.
Oh, I didn't see that one. I mean, so, I just think that I'm sorry, go ahead.
No. Go ahead. I'm changing. Go ahead.
I just think that we have to be careful. Like, I'm not saying we can't criticize or we can't question. I think in this day and age, we have to be extremely careful and that's where I agree with Tatum is but a lot of people, whatever somebody said about it, and immediately not just questioning, but literally, and the police were getting death threats. So we have to be careful with that because
I don't agree with that at all.
I do agree with what I'm saying wholeheartedly because I feel like we just need to be careful. People protect us on a daily basis, and I was just in a town where there was 1,800 people. Two police cars in the parking lot. It didn't look like it was a full station at all, and there was a school right there. And I thought to myself, if right now, would this little town be prepared?
No.
How are the
kids going to get up this crazy Tetris?
You might have been at a school district that allows your teachers to conceal carry.
True.
I don't know about that, but I mean, like the road coming in was treacherous. I just can not imagine tanks and people, resources getting there. I was thinking about that, and I think we get so clouded because we live in.
It looks like I hear you just fine. People are having trouble hearing you, so let me pull you down, pull you back up. You sounded just fine to me, and I think it sounded so. Go ahead, talk right now and see if she sounds better. Comment box. Go ahead and see if go ahead, Mo. Do a mic check.
Beep boop. Mic check. Mic check. 1, 2, 3. Mic check. 1, 2, 3.
She's been sounding fine to me, but there was like 7 people that started saying. So if she sounds better, hit. But Mo is good now. It was a weird glitch coming across.
Okay. Anyways, they said it's now. Okay. So yeah, I was just thinking in my head, like I think we get like used to where we live, and Suni's the exception because she lives on an island in Okinawa. But like when you're in these tiny towns.
Oh, Mo muted herself.
Oh, that was me. Gosh damn it.
Damn it. You know what? Forget about it.
When we're in these tiny towns,
I'm gonna give some pushback. Because I'm married to a service member. All right. And I hear the disgusting things that conservatives have said about our military because they didn't feel like they stepped up in the election. And I didn't hear not one person coming to their defense. So
I didn't even know people were actually condemning that.
Everybody was, especially the Q people. It was nuts. It was crazy. I call them Cult 45.
I wasn't paying attention to that.
If we're not going to have the same energy towards service members, which do a police job, a cop's job on a global scale, an international scale, and we can criticize the military, why can't we criticize the police in instances like this? Like this department deserves to be criticized.
I'm not saying they can't be criticized. I'm saying we have to be careful how we go about it. And again, get all the facts and make sure that we have the facts for whatever you're criticizing. Because, I blame all the disinformation that was flying back and forth as to why people are so confused. And if I was a parent of these kids, I'd be thinking in my head, Jesus, nobody really knows what's going on here. And I have a friend who's actually he's a news reporter who's actually in Uvalde, and I asked him, like, can you clarify, like, what's really going on there because you're on the ground? But I just think that we just need to slow down for a second. Like, I don't know, like it really
I agree,
me.
and this is where you and I kind of agree on this, and I think Tatum hasn't shifted his tone in the last 24 hours. He's still protecting the police in this one, right?
Yeah.
Look, so the thing is this: none of us were there. None of us were a part of it. Now, parents, although their intentions were obviously to save their children and do everything that they can, that does not actually mean that they were helping the situation. They did make it more chaotic. To us, we are playing Monday morning quarterback, thinking that we could have at that time gone compartmentalize the police, compartmentalize the shooter, and made sure and created a gigantic plan. Was it handled the best that it could have been? Absolutely not.
Look,
But I think we're thinking that our police are, again, video game robots without humanity inside of themselves. And I think that's a problem. Now, I'm not standing like back the blue, like whatever on this one. I'm just saying there's so many variables on this that we're forgetting about. And yes, screaming parents, although meaning the best, can be a huge distraction to try to save what is happening going on inside.
Look, like, I'm just going to say this, like, this kind of training that we're talking about them should have haven't had or whatever is some of the most basic training you're ever going to do. If you want to know how, like, what it's like to have to go into door after door after door with an unknown enemy behind at any point taking fire coming from you, ask any Marine that was in the sieges of this siege of Mosul. Ask any soldier that was out there. Yeah, Marines took Mosul. I always give Marines the credit for Mosul.
No, I get it. Marine, Army, like, yes, but we don't train our police.
I learned that as an intel professional. Okay, like, I learned that. When I say it's basic, I mean in my 5th week of training, we were doing this.
But you know what? But had the police gone in guns blazing and kicked the door open, do you want all those bullets flying past your kid?
The whole point is you're trained for it because chances are the children are going to be down and your target is going to be up. When you come through a door, you're literally trained for that.
That's crazy. Like, no, you have to assume that that there's a chaotic scene. For all you know, these kids could be running around.
The whole point
is why do we focus on the door when there's so many windows?
Yeah, like,
so because again, there is not a clear shot. So again, we
don't know that.
Well,
there was no one really on the side of the window.
That to me is something that still needs to be discussed and still needs to be looked at. But at the same time, that, like, Steven Crowder, whom typically I am always lockstep with, he said something today. They were shaming the police officers, and I was listening to it, and I was like, I agree with some. I agree with some. I don't agree with this. But the one thing that he said was a key word. He goes, you go in there, you get the job done. And what if there's collateral damage? Unfortunately, if it's for the purposes of saving a child, it is what it is. And I'm like, holy shit, there's no way. If there's collateral damage and somebody's kid gets killed by a cop, it would even be worse right now than what we're discussing. Do you agree or do you disagree?
No, I disagree. I disagree wholeheartedly. Man. Because let's look at what the active shooter training that the police chief had to go through. What does the active shooter training that the police chief had to do twice tell you about the event? It says, first responders to the active shooter scene will usually be required to place themselves in harm's way and display uncommon acts of courage to save the innocent. Immediate decisive action by school-based officers can have a dramatic impact on reducing casualties. In the event of an active shooter school attack, school-based law enforcement officers should do the best they can to fill the gap until the first responders can arrive.
How do you breach a door?
Mean adopting a solo response to the threat.
How do you breach a door?
If he had accidentally killed a child, the response would be, well, if the shooter had killed him, they had 300 more rounds of ammunition, and people would be like, this is an absolute tragedy. This child lost their life, but if the officer hadn't acted, everybody would have.
And I'm going to play devil's advocate. If he's barricaded in a room, and we've already heard hundreds of rounds go off, and yes, we found out he killed one more girl later on, but if he's barricaded in a room, if they've been able to get the kids out, the police got the kids out from all the other rooms, at that point, whether it's a improperly run barricade situation, what do you expect them to do? If they're getting shot blindly out of a door, he's shooting, not caring who else gets hit. The cops have to be careful on who else they hit besides the shooter. You're hoping kids are all on the ground.
Well, so Pete Arenado himself says, and I quote, that there was no more threat to the children and that subject was barricaded and that they had time to organize. They thought there was no more threat. They thought the man behind the door had no one with him. This is coming from the man on the scene. Pete Arenado, the chief of this, the commanding officer of this event, says, we thought there was no more threat to the children. And they had calls coming in through dispatch saying the opposite, and they still didn't go in.
I thought he wasn't on the scene. I thought he was getting that relate
He was
to
the
him.
incident commander. Yeah, he was that's his responsibility. So this is the information he was fed. If he is the incident commander, he doesn't have to be on the scene for them to be this to have been the thought process. This is then relayed to him by the person who was on the scene. We thought there was no more threat. We thought he killed all the kids.
Well, ultimately, the police have had issues. I mean, the thing is, nobody can get a story correct. There's a lot of problems. There's also the door that was left open.
I would rather be finding out about 2 officers getting shot and only 12 children dying than 19 children dead. Okay, and I'm tired.
I think it was 18 children dead after about 5 minutes. I think it was about 18 children dead after about 5 minutes, and then 19 after the end. And it's unfortunate. If there's 100 rounds fired in a classroom and the bulk was fired in the first 5 to 10 minutes, I got a gut feeling. Unfortunately, with that AR or whatever, the rifle round, I'm pretty sure those kids were dead pretty quick. Now that's speculation. That is speculation. But at the same time, I do think we run a huge risk of thinking the police should have gone in guns blazing. It's not like they didn't go back into the school. They took fire, and I'm not standing by them 100% at all. I'm playing the most logical role I can possibly play in this, which is we are looking at things from a lens of 500 miles away. We're 1,000 miles away. We're watching the instant replays. I would have done. I should have done. And fact is, it was located in one classroom, and I believe one person just outside the classroom. They were able to minimize the threat to that level. We are being so critical of the police while we are completely giving a pass to the actual shooter. Nobody's going, all right, what happened to 3 weeks before? What happened to 6 months before? What happened to social media not having an algorithm to pick up something that said, I'm shooting my grandma. I'm going to shoot up a school, and there's not an emergency system in place for this. There's so many different issues. Suni, go ahead.
So you want them to actively be able to look at your private messages because that wasn't posted. That's a private message.
No.
That was not posted.
He posted. He sent it to some of his followers.
No, I thought it was posted.
And no, it was Listen, before his page went down, myself and Corinne Tatum also grabbed screenshots of what was posted on his page, and those were posted on his story before they shut his page down.
On his story. So it's up on a public story. It's not a messages. Correct. Yes. That's what I've been informed of to this point. He had private messages to the girl, and he had private messages to whatever. Yes, those that should not be read. Again, no shame on the girl. I would have been great if she would have fucking said something. But again, hindsight 50-50. The fact is, there was something on the story. There was something public that was posted about a shooting, and there was enough time in it. And I know, Suni, you posted something in our chat. What is that text message chain between? Who is that between?
It's just him talking about why he killed his grandmother.
To who?
To whoever he's texting. Someone took a screenshot of the text messages.
Yeah. So I just think there's so many different angles on this. And then we brought up earlier the White House. And we haven't found the exact video clip, but we've got the news article written by a pretty left-leaning thing saying guns are not, no, what did they say? Mental health and, what was it? Barricading schools or securing schools is not what we need to do here. Guns are the issue.
Mm-hmm.
And why can't we live in a world with two different things? We can say, what can we do to make this a little bit safer on a gun perspective, even for legal gun owners? And what can we do to secure our schools?
Yeah.
Why do we have to live in a vacuum on this?
I most certainly think that there are a lot of police departments out there that need much better training, that they need a better plan in place. I think schools need training. There needs to be things put in place to at least mitigate the chances of this ever happening like this again. Will you eliminate it completely? Unfortunately, no, you cannot. No. This is going to happen. The only way you can make sure your child is safe in a school setting is to homeschool them. So
grandma is still alive, by the way. So I don't think she's able to talk. Oh yeah, she's still alive. I think she's not gonna be able to talk again. But
I do have a question though. Given that the suspect is dead, who gives a fuck about him? He's dead.
Right. I agree.
So, why waste time talking about him?
I disagree.
We all know he's psycho. America's not going to do anything to change mental health. We all know that this country is screwed. So why not focus on things that we actually have some sort of influence in which is local and state legislation and getting on these people's ass about where this money is being allocated to as far as these budgets go. We can't do nothing about his behavior. Remember, he's dead. He did what he did. We all know that he's a culprit.
But how do you learn? How do you learn from mistakes? It's Kevin. Are you trying to talk? What's happening? Why are you muted? You're muted. That's why it looks so weird. You're muted, Kevin.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. There we go. I was muted on my mic. This is why we need to take this opportunity to put pressure on pharmaceuticals, because again, we're getting the momentum to push back against this entire industry that is basically monopolizing the human immune system and the human psychology. We're allowing this to be monopolized in the hands. It's like, how did humans get by for hundreds of thousands of years before the advent of the pharmaceutical industry? And now all of a sudden, like, if we don't have the pill, like, I get it, mortality has increased by a little bit, but like, there's got to be side effects, negative consequences.
But who's to say that he was even on medicine?
Well, I get that, and that's the thing. That's why I still think there is plenty of time to focus on the shooter. Like, yes, we can learn from them. There can be, just like we can be a fan of sports and we can be a fan of politics. There can be multiple things going on here. You can study the mistakes the police made so that they don't make that again in small towns, and then you can study where the hell this kid came from. Because again, the first thoughts, oh, he must have been bullied. The actual people that knew him, guess what? He's been an asshole forever. He had fucking dead kitty cats in pictures. Like, he was a sick fuck. So what kind of things can we change for the future to better algorithmically? We have social media recognize these problems. We have protocols that we can look at from a pharmaceutical, which I don't think we're going to beat the pharmaceutical lobby. So that might be a moot point. And then Suni. And lastly, the ability to actually go and say the psychologist, although there is HIPAA laws, there might be certain things that the psychologist that does what is it called, hypnosis, which I'm not going to get too far down that rabbit hole, could have prevented in this. There is a playbook that we can say police needed help and all the signs were there. I think it's important to look at the shooter, because that is if you do not put the blame on the shooter, then all of a sudden, who else are you going to blame besides the gun? Go ahead, Suni.
I'm just going to say this. The FBI knows about all of these shooters before they commit their crime. So thinking that, well, we have to study because we're going to prevent this. We have one of the top agencies, 3-letter agencies, watching these fucks, and they're not being arrested. Mm-hmm. There's nothing you can do. It's literally nothing, like absolutely nothing. If they can go find Jan 6ers instantly, but they can't go pick up these fools that are writing manifestos, sitting on the internet, making video after video after video for years, and then all of a sudden they act. What other defense do we have?
And how did they find
are we going to study them?
Geo-tracking, the same thing that they talked about in 2000 Mules. Why not use geo-tracking to find these people? What's the problem? I agree with you there.
So this is going to bring up an interesting topic.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
That's not it in the slightest.
That's a cop-out. That's bad parenting.
There was something I was going to point to after my psychiatry. We're talking about mental health, talking about a psychology field that if we want to talk about violent video games, psychology has a serious issue with replication studies, which is the ability to repeat it. It's a bunch of psychology right now is highly questionable, and we're trying to say we need to rely on this field that can't do replication studies for anything, and people who know anything about science will know what I mean by that. And then we're saying in the solution to this problem is to put more trust into this.
So
why didn't we have the level, because violent video games, there's no correlation whatsoever.
How can you say that?
What's
the correlation then?
And
so I'm actually going to be
fully study.
I'm going to fully disagree, and I think there is, and there is the
There's
concept.
no correlation.
How can I can
Because
give
violent crime has
anecdotal.
gone down.
Hold on. Let's be fair. You're saying
Yeah,
there's a correlation.
I'm going to
Where's
say
the study?
anecdote. If you look anecdotally, and I don't think there is a study because there's a shitload of money, and there's a
That's
lot
not
of money
fair,
in video
though.
games. There's hundreds of millions of dollars. It is a multi-billion-dollar industry.
Yeah, but it wasn't always when the studies were coming out on this.
Okay, do you not think video games in the last 10, 15 years have changed?
No, in fact, violent crime has gone down as video games have gone, like video game use has gone up. Like, no, violent crime rates are down.
Not in the
Even
last
as
2
high
years.
as they are today, they're still lower than the 80s.
Not in the last 2 years in terms of
like I don't think we have recency bias. We don't remember how freaking
what
bad
happened
America
in the last
was
2 years.
80s.
What happened in the last 2 years?
I mean, we had COVID. Yeah,
The kids were locked in their house, not going to school, playing more video games than they ever have. And
You don't. You said it was anecdotal. So
anecdotal is the fact that right now we are having more of these kind of crimes.
But here's my thing. If you're gonna say ban video games, then the argument for banning guns is gonna be the same thing.
No, I'm not. Well, not at all. I think video games aren't self-defense. We don't have those at our house to keep us protected. That's why, and it's not. There is now, to Whoopi Goldberg's argument, there is nothing in the Constitution about video games. But I'm not in disagreement. I'm not in agreement that we need to get rid of video games. I'm not saying that. I'm thinking this is a interesting point that I would like to see more studies on the actual mental health on children when these games have gotten so realistic. And you can call me 60 years old, and I know a lot of you guys play these video games. I don't, never have, but I've seen them, and I found it. And you and I, Suni, talked about this. I think it was Suni. Yeah, when we were in the chat, we were talking about that first shooter at the tops. It was the weirdest thing when you had the first person view of his thing walking in, and at one point it was like he went off screen to reload. It was fucking creepy. It was like he was playing a video game. So whether he had training beforehand or if he used all the experience with a video game to feel comfortable in that setting, I just feel like there is some kind of tie to gaming. And yes, he did. He streamed it to Twitch. Yeah,
I'm gonna be honest. You're reaching. If this is just my opinion.
I agree that I'm reaching. I think it's something to look at. Like these, we have now these shootings are starting to look like video game shootings where people.
You don't think that's by
humanity.
You don't think that's by design? Like they're picking and choosing which shootings they're going to put up in front of everyone. Oh, this looks like a game. Let's get this out on the media. So now we can attack something else.
Nobody's talking about it. Very few people are talking about video games.
There's a large community that talks about video games being an issue. Large. They're in lobbyist groups. They've been around for years. All I'm saying is this is another distraction that completely takes the parent out of the equation. How about parents actually be parents and don't buy your kid fucking GTA? But I have GTA, but do you think my son touches it?
But
hell no.
I get it. But then you're also placing so much faith in the shitty parents we have in this country. Why
shouldn't we?
Because we can't anymore. We have to be realists.
So one question. Do you think you can legislate morality?
No, you can't, but you can try to do. You cannot legislate morality, but you can try to legislate a way to change culture in this sense. Now, again, I'm not. But I'm not. I have to be very clear. I'm not saying to get rid of video games. I'm saying there needs to be real. And yes, Grant, I'm sure has studies from whatever thing he wants to talk about. But I would like to see real studies of current video games, current game use, brain patterns, brain waves, desensitization tests before and after, showing of whether or not there is a desensitivity. I think there does at this point need to be some kind of testing.
Fine. We'll deal with your thoughts, Teddy, right?
No.
How are you? I don't agree with this at all, but I want to hear.
Okay.
Fine. We do all these studies. And let's say it is in your favor. Then what?
Ooh.
They're going to.
Then we have a difficult decision to make.
There is no decision. That's completely taken away someone's freedom of choice.
Right.
You can't stop someone's freedom of choice. That's aggressing upon their natural born right to choose violence if they so choose that.
So how about this?
We are the most sensitized to violence generation that has ever existed.
Oh, I
Ever.
disagree.
There has never been really, because during the years of 1941 and 1945, we had millions of people enlisted in the military, deploying off to Germany, deploying off to the Pacific, getting killed, seeing their brothers killed. Like violence, human history. What do you think a small child? What do you think a small child
no, Kevin, I'm
in
not gonna let you get away with that.
Scandinavian village in 692 is doing?
What do you think? But that's the thing. They saw real death first. They saw the impact of real.
You think someone
death
who's never fired a
first.
gun before, like, and has only seen it on video games, is going to be able to pull a trigger on a human being?
So that's a perfect now that's anecdotal, like Melissa says. I play video games and can't even kill a fly. That is one individual. Now you take
Like,
somebody that has
what do you think an actual child growing up in like the Roman times is having to worry about? Actual violence.
They saw violence.
Violence is always
violence
is a part of human existence. There's no correlation betwing violence and video games. In fact, the evidence suggests video games are very good at pacifying.
I gotta agree with that.
I'm gonna disagree because I don't see the evidence and proof on modern day realistic video games. And yes, and Stevie's all saying the gamers are all into these online. Grant.
It's not all of us though. That's a broad stroke.
I know, and it's an unfortunate thing. Now here's the deal. Let's play the bigger game here. Now, if they were gonna say, well, you know what, we see that guns can cause death, and we can see that video games can unfortunately lead to higher death because of the desensitization. And as I'm trying to explain to you guys, seeing real death first, that is a different level. Whereas if you see video game death first over and over and over, does it desensitize the brain? And now but you're saying no because you're a sane individual. What if you take somebody mentally ill already that is a loner, that doesn't have a good parent, that doesn't, and I have a solution.
They can't distinguish between a video game character and a human being. The problem isn't the video game. There's a problem with the connection in their head that allows them to look at a human and view it with the same kind of value as a video game.
If I had to choose between keeping video games and making sure I can still protect myself in my home, I'm going to choose my firearm. So that is where I'm going to split the two. And lastly, here's an idea. You don't get rid of video games. You make it 18, 21 and up, whatever the hell you want to do on these.
It already is.
I know it is. Can I finish my statement, please? So then I know the kids play them anyways because the parent gets it and they buy it for them and they play them. So what if this is where the parent then, as you said, is then if you allow your child to play this video game, disclaimer, and they end up shooting multiple people, guess what? The parent is then liable for negligence.
That is such an overreach. That is such an overreach of government. Then they're going to be in my household.
It is 100% of overreach of government. It's also middle ground compared to taking away guns.
You want to know why? 1 second. I live under socialism. Okay? I live it. Look, you don't have privacy. You don't get to make your own calls. I can't decide I want to go out and go protest a mask, a video game, a nothing. No. People need to honestly cherish their rights to choose. Ask any service member who has been in for an extended period of time. That is why most people come out and they're okay with socialism, because we've lived under it for decades, centuries upon centuries.
We're talking about fixing a bigger picture. So I'm not saying that we can fix it with getting rid of video games, nor am I saying get rid of video games. But I think this conversation is just as stubborn as those saying the only thing to do is take away guns, instead of let's weigh everything. What can we do to fix this before all of our rights are taken? So just the same as Stacy said, if a parent gives their child alcohol, they get in a drunk driving accident, guess what? The parent is liable. So let's have a discussion on how we can help and again, this is full-blown government overreach. I'm not going to disagree with you. But at this point, there has to be some sacrifices to allow us to make sure we still have our Second Amendment rights.
Absolutely not.
So what are the sacrifices you're willing to give up?
We need to give up the fucking internet. We need to get this shit right here. Listen, yes, it is. You can choose it because here's the thing. This shit right here, this internet, the social media is making us pussies, okay? Our kids, okay, do not know how to fight anymore with their hands.
Thank you.
Because they don't fucking allow it. Okay, back in the day, kids used to play cowboys and Indians before there were video games. Does that mean they were going to grow up and be murderers? No, it
because
doesn't.
it was real.
No,
it was
no,
real.
it was no. I'm talking about playing. They were playing with fake
but it was
guns,
but it was
cowboys.
real.
No,
it was real.
Rizzo,
You are
listen.
in person. You are
But
face to
listen.
face with an individual. It's not like these shooters ever have a second chance to
But
do
you're
this.
making my point. Is we are no longer
you're making
face
my
to, No, we're no longer face to face anymore. So we don't know how to deal with
Exactly.
each other.
Exactly.
This is ruining us.
Exactly. Until the one time they do, the one time they strap it on and they say, "Here, let's go." They've been desensitized. And again, I am speaking in a hypothetical based on something that I would like to see some actual research on. But let's actually think about the fact that you had cowboys and Indians. You respected the fake guns. You respected all these. Tell me why it's a
Back in the day when a girl was trying to get with my man, I didn't get on the internet and put some shit on there. I went and beat her with a gin and juice bottle over the head. That's what I did.
But
That's
Anthony,
what I
let me
did.
answer
that may not
question.
lead to a school shooting, but do you not think in the hood that
You're
there's
damn
leads to
right.
somebody getting shot and
Hold
killed?
on.
You're
Hold
damn
on,
right
hold on.
because she's gonna learn because I approached her face to face.
Or
And you know what?
she's gonna one up you and she's gonna stab you or shoot you.
Can
So
I
you go ahead.
And
respond?
she did it.
So
She did
look. I grew up in the 90s, right? This is in the beginning of the video game era, all right? Old people had Atari and all that old shit. Y'all didn't have video games like we did, right?
I had
video game.
SNES,
I had Atari.
Video games had little to no influence on the violence that took place in my neighborhoods. You know what did? My surroundings. So you would have to figure out where this applies because young boys growing up in the hood ain't influenced by no damn game. They're influenced by the people around them.
Oh,
whether
I
they
agree.
play video games or not.
I agree. I'm not talking about the murders in the hood because the media doesn't talk about that anyway. So let's ignore that because that's honestly, I'm with you. That it has video games have no effect on that. Now these quote unquote sick, deranged, twisted shooters that it is a small percentage of what happens. I think does. And to compare video games in the 90s to the first person shooter games right now that are so insanely realistic.
Hold on. That's not true. Look, thank you, Matthew. We had Mortal Kombat. There was more blood and gore in that damn video game than I can imagine.
Let me real quick. Anthony,
wait. You are an avatar, and I muted you, Kevin. You are an avatar fighting because I used to play Mortal Kombat all the time. You are an avatar fighting another avatar. That is not the same as being first-person shooter. You can't say that. You can't be that dumb.
No. Have you ever played? And this was still in the 90s. Have you ever played Mortal Kombat on a PlayStation 2?
Absolutely. I played video games all the way up until like 2002.
Fine. So back in that time, those graphics were next level graphics to us. I'm showing you the time frame.
Did you not just listen to me?
Hold
Go
on.
ahead, finish.
We've had these games forever. We have seen hearts spiked out of a dude's chest since I was 9 years old.
That is drastically still unrealistic. And it is, I said, an avatar fighting an avatar. Are you going to tell me that
Anthony?
Okay.
Hold on, Kevin. I'll have an honest question for you. You're going to tell me that two people kicking each other, looking real, and blood that is, if you look at it now, looks nothing compared to the games now, is the same as a first-person shooter game that is going through killing.
So, Russo, when did first-person shooter games come out?
I think GoldenEye was actually, or Bond.
No,
Doom.
Oh, no. Doom was the first one, and that was on a computer. Do you think that looked anywhere near like what the games look like today?
It was Duke Nukem, and that is probably the most aggressive game you could ever get to. You could rape women, you could shoot people, and it was all first person.
But it's not realistic. That is what I'm trying. The graphic, there's a huge difference between this. Literally makes you feel like you are doing exactly what you are doing.
I think this is speculation.
Okay,
I'm saying it's speculation, and I am not saying that I am right. I'm not saying that I am right. I am saying that this is, if you think there is zero correlation, and it's not even worth a discussion, I think you're being absolutely fucking blind.
Let me point this out. So what you're suggesting is that video games are so realistic that you can confuse a human avatar on a TV screen with a real human being, as if your brain cannot distinguish the two things. It doesn't matter how good the graphics are. Your brain knows one thing is fake and one thing is real. This gets back down to the mind-body problem. This gets what makes something real. This is a very intense idea in philosophy for a reason.
What?
Because
what? Yo, I'm sorry. Can you
can't.
pull that comment back up?
Why is this a wrong statement?
Because it's
Because
completely different from actually shooting a real gun.
There is
That
when
is
you
not
point,
even the
So,
same
hang on.
thing.
Let me try to give Russo an example here.
It is
I think I have a
different.
good example for Russo. Russo, you just barely went deer hunting for your first time this last year, right?
Yep.
Have you ever heard the term buck fever?
Yeah, you get
Yeah,
addicted to it.
you to pull that trigger, it takes a little bit of your anxiety. It's going to come up. It's going to take a minute. A video game doesn't do that. Pulling triggers, pushing buttons, you don't get that. But when you actually have to have that weapon in your hand, you will be hesitant in pulling that trigger.
My heart rate didn't even go up when I shot the deer. I
But
know
then
I'm
you
not.
have no
I'm
soul.
not-
It's not a
You're
human.
violent.
It's because it's not a human. So now imagine that was a human at the end. Like there is a specific. What I'm saying is that the person that can be influenced by a video game is a broken person already. The video game is just a symptom.
Exactly. You are speaking to the 99.9%, which is most people that it's not going to have an effect.
Like he was also killing and skinning fucking cats.
I agree with this is the thing. I agree, but at the same time, is it not worth looking at on maybe a way to control it a little bit better? Just the same as I am also, by the way.
No, because if it's bad for the 0.1%, does that mean we get to take it away from the 99.9? Because now we're taking guns away.
Didn't I literally just say, then let's just make the parents accountable? That's it. That's all I said. It's an 18 and up game. Make the parents accountable.
Hold on. Fine.
Okay.
So we make the parents accountable. How? I want to
negligence. They would get charged with negligence. If
we're gonna okay. So this is I'm gonna tell you what I'm understanding. If a kid is playing a game and they in the future commit a school shooting or a mass shooting, and it's found out that the parents let them play the game, they're going to be charged with the crime.
I mean, again, this is an idea, and as a lot of some people are saying, I don't disagree with what you guys are saying. I think it's a complete infringement on our freedoms. I'm saying, where do we have a little bit of where do we discuss some kind of compromise? So to answer your question, Suni, yeah, maybe they get. I don't think they get murder. I don't think they get attempted murder as a parent. I think you get a negligence charge. I think there has to be some kind. I mean, look at what's happening with the family of the grandma. They're trying to propose a GoFundMe. We were talking about this before the show. And honestly, for me, give them a GoFundMe because that'll prove how fucked up GoFundMe is. Let them show that they're not willing to have a January 6th or a Canadian trucker rally, but you can have a murderer's grandma. I am simply saying, why don't we look at all angles here? And just like the left is cutting off everything except guns, why don't we say, let's have a conversation about everything and let's see where we can find something that might help. And maybe video games won't, but I'm totally down with the government spending $10 million on a fucking research or giving a grant to an independent, preferably an independent party, giving a research grant.
Psychology broke the field.
I hear what you're saying, right?
Ugh. No, fuck off. She got $11,000.
I'm sorry, but he shot his grandma. She didn't do anything wrong, did she?
She raised him.
Yeah, but I can't even believe
his father didn't. That's a pretty big common denominator in all these shooters is their father. Pharmaceuticals is one. Fatherless homes is probably an even bigger indicator.
Hold on. I hear what you're saying. But that is creating a slippery slope for them to interfere in every facet of our lives.
Agreed.
I'm not saying morality. Like,
I'm agreeing that my thoughts are not perfect. I'm saying it's worth a conversation, and to not think. I think it's silly to not
I
think that
don't,
video
like-
games have not had some semi effect.
That's
I
like
think
banning
it's a
porn.
dangerous
Like-
conversation.
So, but
Right,
actually,
we
can
all-
I ask you a question directed to Mo real quick? Because Mo,
Yeah.
you talked about social media. Social media has desensitized us, and I agree with you. So
Mhm.
what's the difference? How do we know there's a drastic difference between social media and a first person shooting video game? I think that there could, I need to add the words very realistic first person shooter. I just think
That's
there's a
reasonable.
lot of things all at once between social media, video games, the lockdowns, the shitty parenting all at once going into these kids, and the 0.001% of kids are coming out of it fucking ridiculous. And it's
They were
Go
the
ahead.
0.001 that was broken anyways.
Yeah, I was just
so
gonna say
so
that.
then
They
how
were-
so then how do we prevent it? We
You
secure
can't.
can't.
It's impossible.
How do we
can't.
do what is our next step to do our
The
best?
next step is to make sure when that psycho, that's one of the 0.1% that doesn't belong to humanity, decides that they're going to take the life of innocent children, people are there that are able to put it down.
Mhm.
That's the only
Arm
thing you can
people.
do.
I
The
don't
only
disagree
answer to the reality that non-law-abiding citizens will have guns is to empower law-abiding citizens as much as
Right.
possible to exercise that
Article
right.
just
That is-
came out in Blaze. I think yesterday. Woman
That
shoots
is it.
gunman. Woman shoots gunman dead in the head. Dead after he begins firing rifle at
2.5
graduation party
million.
crowd. What's that?
2.5 million times a year that happens. Well,
Yeah, I
not,
know.
not
So-
that per se.
I know, but protect somebody. So here's the interesting part. I love, well, this is a Blaze article, so that's why, but it says woman shoots gunman dead, it begins firing rifle at graduation party. It was an AR style rifle, but here's the story. Police in Charleston, West Virginia are praising a woman who fatally shot a gunman who fired a rifle at dozens of graduation party attendees last week. It's the investigator said that Dennis Butler was warned Wednesday about speeding near the Vista View apartment complex when children present before he departed and then returned with an AR-15 style rifle, began firing into the crowd. Bystander attending the party quickly pulled out her handgun and shot Butler, killing him. Later died. He was 37 years old. No injuries attended. So here is where, because everybody's like, AR is a killing. It's a killing weapon. It's a war machine. It just got taken out by a woman with a handgun.
Yeah, because bullets kill.
Yep.
And Grant, I knew you were gonna do it. All right, this is completely different. I'm sure this guy didn't have hundreds and hundreds of rounds that
We
he
don't
was
know.
letting off. Come on now, you can't.
And
That's
he
that's
wasn't-
apples and oranges.
And he wasn't
Well,
blocked behind a door. And also, I think
Right.
a lot of people
Yeah,
think
it's
that
apples to oranges because one of them responded immediately with gunshots.
So here's the other thing. I think people, and we'll go back to the school now. I think people are also forgetting what these doors are like. We haven't been in elementary school for a long time. These are insanely secure doors in each of these classrooms. Once the door is
Maybe.
locked, well, based on if these are the doors that are like, you know, going between your bedroom and your hallway, then there needs to be a whole other discussion. But I know in schools you've got the glass that is for the most part bulletproof. Then you got the doors that are about this thick, and they're essentially, once they're locked, you do need some kind of way to bang into these doors.
The smaller towns do have weaker systems. Like they're not like the city schools.
We don't know that. I mean,
Yeah.
yes,
I do know
we
that
don't.
because I went to a smaller town.
Yeah,
school at one point.
Yes, but that was 15, 20 years ago. We have had some
Okay,
upgrades
fair
in the
enough.
school system there, old man.
Fair
So we have to realize that until there is more information, I think shaming the police department, shaming the individual police officers is one thing. I think looking at the tactical fuck up is valid.
There was once a time when you would walk through the parking lot of a high school in 1970s Texas or Louisiana, and you'd be able to count all the shotgun racks sitting out in the trucks.
That's
Yep.
called
And there was no school
2010.
shootings.
It's
There
2010.
weren't school shootings.
You know
There
what
was a
they
school bombing.
You know what they didn't have then? Video games.
Uh,
Anyways,
pharmaceutical?
moving on.
Yo, Columbine, those little Columbine fucks had video games.
They had
they were
they had
also on drugs,
pharmaceuticals too.
They were on a lot of antidepressants.
maybe there's just a small segment of the population that's always going to be a threat to the rest of the population.
Yeah, and we
the
need to
only
be
way
prepared to
prevent
deal with
it
them and
is
take
to
them
give
out.
people the immediate option to end
Yes.
it when they see it.
So
Like
why
not banning
Agreed.
ARs. Just saying.
Agreed. Now, how do you
If
feel
I had
about,
a 50 cal turret on my truck, I would have been able to take out that dude with his body armor.
But now I got a question with you, because I was just in a pawn shop today, got an AR. That was what I was there for, and I had a discussion with them, and they were literally like, these are gun people. These are, I'm sure, conservative, whatever. They were like, honestly, you know, we listened to most of the NRA thing. It's like, why don't we just make the age 25 for AR style weapons
and everything else?
Suni had a great point earlier. I think a regular rifle is different than AR style. Suni had a great point. You're in military. Because again, people keep saying there is no reason an 18-year-old kid should be allowed to buy a gun. You're allowing them to go serve our country, so
yeah.
I don't get the difference.
We got to give them foo-foos and pom-poms to go over there and fight for a few years.
I get that. I do
Mind
think
you, it was 18-year-olds storming the beaches of Normandy, so.
Now tell me if you're gonna hate me on this one. I am okay with raising the age for non-military 18-year-olds.
Oh, so only members of the state get to exercise their rights.
Nope. See, that's more government bureaucracy.
So
the government gets to, if you're a member of the government, you get extra privileges. Got it.
What'd you say, Russo?
So where's the middle ground on this? Because
the middle ground is that there's a small segment of the population that will always be capable of doing this, and the only thing we can do in response is cultivate.
That's not solution oriented at all.
That is a solution. That is the solution.
Hold on. We already admitted there is no solution to this, but we're still trying to find one. There is no solution to this.
But there is no. When I say there's no solution, there's no perfect solution. I do think there is ways of making things better. I should be more clear on that. I think there's ways of having a better conversation.
So the only thing, if we're talking middle ground, all right, my kids train with weapons. They've trained with ARs. They've trained with pistols. We teach them. There should be no reason that my child at the age of 18 can't go get a gun.
Yeah.
If that's what he wants to do with his money.
He can borrow it from his parent, and you guys can go shoot together.
So, you're asking me the middle ground.
I know
middle ground.
That's how it is right now. I'm saying, what's the middle ground? If something were to change,
the reality is guns exist.
Correct.
The middle ground is arming teachers, giving them the option to be armed, giving them the option to go take classes, and putting security at the school. Those are the only solutions to how we can, and we won't ever prevent it, but we can place deterrence. How about putting fencing around the school?
So fencing is expensive, and I agree with you. I'm down with that. I'm saying, so yes, we secure a school, and I know Grant said earlier, like, oh, we can't make it. Let's make it look like Iraq or some whatever. No, but I think we can. There is a middle ground of securing schools a lot better. Paying somebody to be in front, and yes, if a gun triggers you, guess what? Your child being killed is going to trigger you even more. So having somebody protecting the doors, having a new security system, making sure that there is different things in place. But I also think that in the discussion, I want to know a valid reason why. And I think that rifles and shotguns are different, even though they can kill just as easily. But I do think there is this stigma between AR weapons and mentally ill that, you know what? We've already in Texas.
What is an assault? What is an AR weapon?
One that is literally like the ones in video games, but I'm just saying.
What do you mean like the ones in video games? They have pistols, they have SMGs,
I get it.
They have LMGs,
you know that.
Barbies.
You actually just proved my point. You can't get a pistol in Texas until you're 21, but you can get an AR when you're 18.
We should make it 25 for everything. You can't join the military until 25. You can't vote until 25. You can't drive a car until 25. You can't drink until 25.
Or why don't you just
can't vote until you're 25?
Well, I wouldn't disagree with that. But no, what if instead of being stubborn on this, why don't you say, okay, if you're not serving in the military, you can't own.
Because I don't see being a member of the state as earning you extra privilege.
I think it does, because you're serving
absolutely not. Absolutely not. Because that is the antithesis of what the founding of America is on. Thomas Jefferson himself says, I would rather have dangerous freedom than peaceful slavery.
So what's your opinion on the free state of Texas and many other states not allowing, they're allowing rifles for kids for adults that are 18, but not handguns until 21? What's your opinion on that?
The reason for that is for hunting reasons. Like a rifle is
Stupid.
very like we are not being specific on ARs, right? And or those style weapons.
Constitutional carry is 18,
so
by the way.
when it
Texas
comes
doesn't
to-
have it.
That's not true.
That is not true.
That's
when it
not
comes
true.
to
Not everybody in the
the-
military gets training. Sorry, Casey.
the rifle
Well,
question,
I meant
you
Kate-
can't
I
take
meant
that
Kevin
away
as well.
from them. They have to be able to carry a gun.
And
be
I'm
able to
fine
hunt.
with the rifle. I'm absolutely fine with it. You should be allowed, and you could protect yourself with a rifle. What is the purpose? And I know you might say I'm sounding like a lefty, but I've always been in favor of having a conversation on some kind of common sense gun control. I have a couple opinions. What about everybody that owns a gun is required to take a 4-hour training class?
How about it
Yes,
sounds to me
absolutely.
like we should
There we
be
go.
advocating for our elementary schools to once again teach firearm safety.
I'm good
firearm
with that
handling.
too.
Yes, no.
Maybe
until,
not
until hold on,
Maybe not elementary.
until that one accident happens and then everyone loses their fucking minds.
That's why I would make it a little bit older.
Well,
but
here's
or
the
give
thing:
it as
is
an option.
we don't
Give it
live
as
in the
an option.
kingdom of heaven. We're not going to find perfect.
Right. See,
I'm
and
We're
just
gonna
talking
have to
about
accept- we're gonna have to
legislation that
accept-
we're-
Sorry.
I'm poking holes in theories that won't work. I think the best option is to give teachers the option to carry. You
Yes.
have one of the safest schools in Indiana right now, as we speak. Their teachers carry. The front office carries. Not every teacher carries. They have cameras set up. They have kill switches. They have what they need. And you know what that comes down to? Once again, drum roll, budget. If the state and the city manager aren't doing their jobs, it doesn't matter what solution we put forth if they don't give the money to it.
So I'm going to go back to a place where Casey and I actually found some common ground on this, because I remember one of the things when I was in my concealed handgun class, they said was 99.9% of gun crimes happen to those that do not have a concealed permit, which means they have not gone through the class. So there is a respect given to firearms when they go through a class. What is your opinions? Casey agrees with me. What are your opinions on everybody that owns a gun is required if you have a registered firearm, you're required to have a class. Now, this is retroactive. You don't have to go tomorrow, but in the next 6 months, you have to attend a class. What is your opinion on that? Anybody?
Oh, I can answer that. Fuck that. Absolutely, ever living.
Why?
Fuck that.
No. I agree with
God.
it. I think that people should
Why?
remain up to date on their training to make sure that they're good. Why not?
No.
Why not?
Absolutely
Why,
not.
Kevin?
If you have a problem with Americans not being trained on firearms, it's the fault of the Americans that came before you for not fighting for it to be educated at a young age. It is a God-given, goddamn right of this country. What separates
agree.
America from every other country on planet fucking Earth is that we have the right to guns. That is what separates us. That is a thing that means being American.
Toonie, hold on one sec. So, Kevin, did you get a driver's license?
Yeah, driving is not what makes America America. Guns
Driving's
are.
not right. It's a privilege.
Where does driving exist in the Constitution?
That's a valid
Guns
point.
guns
Okay,
aren't
Whoopi.
even mentioned. Weapons of war are arms. That means anything the military uses, and this was answered by Madison himself when asked, does this mean a cannon? Yes. It means a fucking cannon. It means whatever the military is going to goddamn use, because the most important thing for the people is to be as armed as your military, because a people as armed as their military cannot be taken over by a tyrannical government, and that is the single most important thing.
So what's the problem? So what's the big deal with taking a class?
So I can give
It's
some
an
pushback.
infringement.
That's
what.
go ahead. That's not,
For it kind of sounds like more restrictions. It depends on how the state is doing it. If you fail it, you shouldn't lose your gun license.
never said that.
So I would need more context. If it's going to be more restriction and it's going to take away rights, then no, I would not be for it. If it's just an optional thing for people to go and test and they want to make sure they're good, then fine. Do that.
I don't even care if you pass. Literally the test.
No.
The test should be attendance, and you have to be there on that day, and you have to sit there and listen and hold a firearm. The concealed thing. Yeah, we all had to go shoot at the range. Again, and literally to pass that test, you could be a 98-year-old woman aiming at a bright blood.
Guns are like sex, Anthony. It's best taught to you by your parents, and when the government gets involved, it
You're
ends up
and
fucking
I
bad.
know that you're being funny, but we're giving so much faith in parents. Parents fucking suck.
Parents fucking suck.
So
But a lot
let
less
me
parents
come up
used
with,
to
let me
suck than they
propose.
do
So
now.
I have not
with you
heard
and
a
Bruce.
good argument. I have not heard a good argument on and Suni, you had good points. It's infringement, but I still haven't seen a reason why, if the left is looking for a middle ground, why can't we
Yes.
provide a middle ground? Why can't we provide a middle ground like
To
you're
the
required
left?
to take? Yes.
I don't like that you're
Yeah.
saying, can we provide a middle ground to the left? We don't owe them shit.
No, we don't owe the I
I
don't know.
think we owe 19 families something. I think we owe
I don't think that comes from us, Russo.
I don't
Let's
think that
Russo,
comes
look at our skin color. We owe every black person in America something, Russo.
40 acres and a mule, Russo.
You can be stubborn. We could be as stubborn as we want for as long as we want. And do I think that this will fix the problem? Not necessarily. Do I think it will be another way of saying, look, we're all trying to work together? Because ultimately, that's one thing we're not doing. We're not working together. Nobody is. And that goes just as much on the right. Plain and simple. Like, how can we be so stubborn to not have any room for a little bit of budge? Because we talk about how they're going to take our guns. They're going to take our guns. They're going to take
They've
our
already
guns.
taken so many of our guns, dude.
How?
I can't own a tank, and I can't own a fully armed tank.
Do you
The
know how
founding
dumb
fathers
that
would be
sounds?
pretty pissed about that.
Do you know how
Why
dumb
did they
that
say you
sounds?
could own a cannon? Because they wanted you. They said you could have the most advanced weapon of the fucking day.
You're a
I can't-
brilliant.
I
Why,
can't-
why don't we attack Pakistan? Because Pakistan has nukes. Why don't we attack freaking Iran? Because they probably have nukes. Why don't we attack China? Because they have nukes.
Make
Why
the
don't we
class
attack
free.
Russia? Because they
I
have
agree.
nukes.
I agree, Angie. Make
like-
the class free. Kevin, you're literally being so far, like, you're an intelligent, brilliant person, and
An
you're
armed
saying
society is a polite society.
you're literally
you do
saying
not attack what you cannot attack.
We're an armed society right now. We have more
No, we're-
firearms in this country than we do people. We are not a
Actually,
peaceful society.
2.5 per person.
Yeah, I mean, we're no longer a peaceful fucking country. If you think that, you're on crack.
Are we not peaceful because we have guns?
We have a very
we're peaceful because
Australia
99
is shipping people off to camps.
We're peaceful because we have 99% of the people in this country are actually decent people. Like, I mean, they're assholes on social media, but we do have a problem with the 0.1%, whether it's in the ghetto, whether it's in small town socioeconomic bullshit in middle of nowhere, Kansas, that has meth addiction. We have a problem with the 1% of sick son of a bitches in this country. And yes, parents should absolutely teach their children. I agree they should, but we have seen how we talk all the time. Fatherless homes. This is not an overnight fix. What can we start to do that will provide us hey, you know what? You guys are just saying guns need to go away. You don't know what an assault rifle is. You don't know what an automatic rifle is. You don't know what an AR is. You don't know what a handgun can do. You don't know what a killing machine is. But you know what? Just because we're not giving up our guns, we're not giving up our rights. We're taking a 3-hour, 2-hour fucking course. And you're saying, last thing, Mo. And you're saying, well, that's bullshit because I can't own a tank. Do you know how dumb that sounds?
I don't care how dumb it sounds, because at the end of the day, what is the question the founding fathers were asking themselves? How do we make sure a tyrannical government can never oppress its people again?
Who is saying to take away guns? I'm literally saying let's do everything.
Well, you're calling me stupid when the founding fathers themselves would have said, yeah, you should probably be able to own a fucking tank.
I think we should have every, and it's funny that you're saying this, Russo, because almost every enlisted man feels like we should have every single weapon the military has.
Yeah.
Almost 99% of them believe
none of
we
the
should
military
have the same weapons.
None of the not none. Most of the military I talk to, not.
How many military people are you around?
Like,
I'm gonna G-check you right now.
Because I
50-ish of people that I talk
how
to.
many military
Duke Ray guy kind of thing?
And a lot of them also thinks that they are
on.
better than the civilian with a firearm, to be very
Hold
clear.
up.
Let's do a poll.
I'm gonna G-check a little bit. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I am. We're talking someone who is immersed, like living in this within this culture. All I see are military people. They're not one-offs where I don't get to see a military person unless I'm around. No, I'm around everybody that's here is military.
Yep.
Everybody that I've talked to in the last 10 years, almost 11 years, my husband's been enlisted.
Yep.
we all believe we should have the same weapons as the military.
Yeah.
All of us.
You want to
Not
know
my experience.
the founding fathers would say the military can only buy weapons available to the public. That's it. That's the military's option. What is available to the public?
Where did that say that? I mean, I could have missed that.
Because no, when asked the question, are the people allowed to use the most advanced weapon of the day? The founding fathers, James Madison himself, said yes. That is the whole point of the Second Amendment. That's why we said arms, not guns. We said arms because we specifically knew we were talking about the military, and we wanted the people, no matter where technology went, the people needed to be as armed as the military in order to prevent a tyrannical government. They didn't care what that meant. They just knew that's what was necessary to protect the people.
Got it. I hate this. Who posted that, Suni?
I did.
You've got 4,863 unaccounted for firearms.
That's fine, but the bottom line is more people are dying from hands, feet, blunt objects,
Great.
and handguns.
And at what part am I saying to take away anybody's weapons? I'm
poking fun at the gun control argument.
Oh, I get it.
This is not solely directed towards you.
And my thought process is, how do we get away from the gun control argument and actually have a discussion that will shut them up and not take the guns away?
Well, it's all gun control, Russo. What you're proposing is still gun control.
Yeah,
I've said there is some common sense gun control laws I don't disagree with. This would be one of them.
We've already reached them all.
The fucked up thing is, I have never seen any bill that says people need to take a course.
No, Anthony, we've already passed common sense because the people can't own tanks because commonsensically, you're not going to want people to own fucking tanks in a neighborhood. People can't own J-dams because commonsensically, you don't want people to be able to blow up an entire city block with one weapon.
Damn it, I want my Marauder.
The only
keep taking small incremental steps, and now you're giving away the last vestige of hope. Why was the Taliban and Al Qaeda able to back us off? They had was basically assault rifles.
This is the exact reason why I have to, and it's not because of the argument, because I love the argument, but this is the exact reason that I'm taking a step back, because the fact that
I love you.
I'm not taking a course, fuck that. And yes, I agree nothing will shut them up, but I love the idea of being able to say, look, we just gave you this. And no, I don't think not having, the only things I think we've given up is bump stocks. And honestly, we've
given up fully auto. We've given up the amount of things we've given up. Everything the military has above full auto, we have given up.
You can technically still get full auto pretty damn easily.
No, not legally. Everything we have, everything above full auto is literally something we have given up. Jets we gave up. Tanks we gave up. IFTVs with 50 cals mounted, we have given up. Those are all things we have given up.
I get it. I'm not going to disagree with you on that. I think we've given up a lot, but this one is we're not giving up a single gun. We're going to a fucking class.
Russo, so here's the only argument I have to go against it. When anybody asks me about buying a gun, the first thing I tell them is go find a gun, practice shoot it, rent a gun, find one you like to shoot, and shoot it and practice it before you buy it. And then that way you're comfortable with it. That's what is my first advice to anybody that has never owned a firearm before. So a class or getting comfortable with the firearm is very important. However, the only argument I have against the class part, when you asked what is the argument against it, when you give the government an inch, they take a mile.
Agreed.
They do every time. And so you have to be careful with some of those decisions.
But we've given the inch by giving away things like bump stocks and in many ways fully automatic. I'm going to.
Where has that gotten us?
Nowhere.
Nowhere.
Don't forget
what?
Red flag laws. That's the most dangerous one of all.
Agreed. And you've got gun-free zones that do nothing. So
we call them target-rich environments.
Exactly, target-rich environments. So yes, you give an inch and you take a mile. My proposition on this for the change of having a class doesn't take anything but 3 hours of our time, 2 hours of our time. To me, it is a
class before you buy a gun. That's on you.
You have to make it. Listen, I would love if everybody knew how to properly use a weapon. Yes, that would be beneficial. But the way you're posing it is, can we meet in the middle with the left? And that has gotten us nowhere. They will never meet in the middle with us. And I'm not saying that we don't, I'm not saying like we need to be like on separate sides all the time, but to propose this idea as we're meeting them halfway when they never meet us halfway on anything,
True.
this is one thing you don't want to meet halfway on. Because
I'm not saying we have to take a full 8-hour class, by the way. I know that's the
Hey, let's
typical
break
class.
up the monotony. I literally took a test to see what type of political person I am, and I'm libertarian.
Hell
That's
yeah.
fake
that's
news.
what mine came. I
Fake
sent
news.
that to Suni. Russo,
Can we
I
go
sent
back,
that to
like, 2
Suni,
years
and I
You
ago?
on our side. Fuck the Republicans. You never
Whatever.
got
We can go
You're a
back 2 years ago
libertarian
when
voice.
Suni was making
Can-
fun of me for being a libertarian.
Suni, can you I want that link. Can you put it in the actually put it in the
Yeah.
actual show?
Suni,
coverage?
just
Hold
you're
it
a
for everybody.
conservative libertarian.
I
Welcome
to the
to
show.
be clear,
Russo's gonna come up as some communist.
Russo's liberal.
I'm probably gonna come up.
No,
as
I just sent that to Suni, and I was like, we need to give this to Russo.
Oh, I
right now.
I'll put it
guarantee
in
you,
the
I'm
private
more
chat.
liberal than y'all think. So, criminals will never take a class. No shit. I get that. So that's what I'm saying, because all these people on the left keep saying to me,
But they will get guns.
exactly. So, but you know what? I would love to have people armed around me that have been to a class for a couple hours, so they know a little bit more about their gun personally. But that's just common sense.
Well,
in
you
my
can't
opinion.
force it on them unless you put a gun to their head. So
Okay.
I don't disagree with you, Grant. Both sides do it to each other. So she's just showing what the other side does. They both do it. They never concede on anything unless it's lining their own pockets. So let's just keep it real.
Okay, going back to this real quick. Yes,
Do
the
we
shooters, the criminals will never take a class. Those people were never going to be better shooters, but I do want people around me to be better. But at the end of the day, and this is the fight that I've gotten when I poked my head on social media from my far lefties. They're like, "You're not willing to compromise. The guns are this is a terrible thing." And I said, guys, just so you know, all of the common sense gun laws, this HR 8 and everything that you're asking for would not have prevented these last 2 shootings, would not have prevented 90% of the mass shootings, because most of them are able to get it legally, because technically the FBI, although watching some of them, doesn't have them on any kind of list. They would pass a background check, which is fucked up because it's a gray area of where is it mental, where do you allow guns, all these different things. So it's not going to help anyways. So I'm saying if you're required to have a class, maybe that could have stopped this. I don't know. I think there's a bunch of different things that can be discussed. I do agree with giving an inch and a mile. I also agree with both sides are so fucking stubborn that, yeah, we're probably not going to get anywhere on this one.
Nah.
Oh no.
I don't think we should. If I'm being honest, there are things that I'm willing to compromise on. One of those things being a Plan B pill and birth control. Who is that?
That's me.
Oh, Plan B and birth control. As far as the whole abortion thing goes, I think states should be able to vote on it. But middle ground would be, hey, take this pill, take a damn Plan B pill, and go about your day. You can fuck your body up that way, versus you killing a child. But the Second Amendment is what protects us from not only criminals but the government. Like, that will be one right that I will never ever concede on in any way, shape, form, or fashion. And if that makes me stubborn, I guess I'll just be a stubborn American.
We know you're stubborn.
We
know you're stubborn.
That's not happening. Actually, I'm willing to concede more grounds than most conservatives are on this abortion topic, because they want to ban Plan B. Nope, you can't take Plan B. Nope, you can't do birth control.
No.
They want to ban porn. I'm not even to that extent. I understand that people are going to make their own choices, but should it be a tax-funded initiative? Fuck no. You go pay for that shit yourself.
See, look, I'm taking this stupid test right now, and it's already biased. So it groups in this thing. One of the questions.
Hey, me too. Welcome to the club.
One of the questions it says is an education system that teaches science and tolerance is essential for democracy. How do you group those two things fucking together?
That's what I ran into. I was like, fuck that. Tolerance, get the fuck out. I'm just kidding. Anyways. No, but Suni, you're spot on. And I wanted to add something, and I completely forgot what my point was going to be, because Tony the nationalist. Oh.
That is not an accurate test.
No, it is not. It's 14
Russo's
fucking
not a
questions.
nationalist.
It's not an
Russo-
accurate
That's
test.
not
Russo
me.
is a
I didn't
classical liberal.
I'm
You
taking it right
just have
now.
a lot of progressive. Oh, that
Mine's-
wasn't you?
No, that was
Oh.
Kevin.
Oh,
That was
okay,
me.
never mind.
But it said
That was you?
84.
You're
but
a
it said
nationalist too,
84%.
Pussy?
Yes.
It
What
said
were you,
84%.
Mo?
Hey, we're both
Republican.
libertarian. Like, the
I
thing
was
is,
a
though, is like, it
libertarian.
didn't ask
You were a
a
libertarian?
question. I believe
Okay.
in enforcing these morals with a gun. Like, nope, strongly disagree. Oh, you're an anarchist, I see.
It's
There you
not
go. You're a
supposed to be
libertarian.
dig in and never change. Well, that's. I'm just gonna be honest. That means a lot of people don't understand what the word conservative means, because it means that you are opposed to change. You're adverse to it. So
Well, yeah.
That's not the that's not the definition of a political conservative.
There's also like an attachment.
I don't care about
to
the
values and
political shit.
tradition.
Well,
I
that's what
care
we're
about
saying.
the actual lifestyle.
When people are saying they're conservative, they're talking about their politics. When people say I'm a
when
conservative
you
person,
say
that's
it,
different.
when
No, that's
you
most
say
people. When people are
You-
talking, when people
Hold
don't go
on.
around, people don't go around and be like, "Hey, I'm conservative." That's they're going
you're
around saying
speaking
I'm
in
a conservative.
absolutes. You can't do that.
Only
Okay,
I'm not even
let's-
speaking
let's
in
have a vote.
absolutes.
Let's have a vote. When people say I'm a conservative, are they referring to they're a conservative, like individual, or are they referring to politics?
Well,
If you
that's
say
why it's
politics
important to
or
define your
individual.
terms.
I'm not saying it's every time, but I'm gonna say this is an 80%. When people say I'm liberal or conservative, they're talking about their politics. They're not talking about their unwillingness to change based on the definition of conservative.
Was this?
Like,
was
if
this
it's a
your
random
attempt?
conversation, it is just going. They're going to be referring to their political affiliation.
I think only landowners should be able to vote, regardless of color.
Oh, jeez.
No, but I think that was his attempt to like me back into submission, bitch. My granddaddy owned land and he wasn't white, so I don't. And he voted too.
Look,
So you need to get away from this like compulsory education that you've been given in public school that teaches you that only white people were able to do things.
Oh, Jesus.
Fuck out of here.
Or F. Or F.
wow, we're just a bunch of. Never mind.
I got stalwart Republican on that stupid test. I'm not
Thank
sharing
God
the
we're
link
not
to that test because
socialists,
it was
then
dumb.
we'd be the bad word.
I already shared it.
I'm a freedom
Jesus.
steward. I believe
I'm
in freedom.
a NACA, national capitalist,
And that thing just rated me as ultra MAGA.
but I'm super
You are
duper
not-
ultra mega MAGA.
You would
I'm
get
mega
kicked out
MAGA.
of Ultra MAGA. As
Oh, I
soon
would
as they heard
definitely
your views, they'd be like, bro, you gotta go.
Which is funny.
Well, yeah.
Which is funny because I can guarantee you Trump is probably on the down low pro-choice. Trump
Oh, he
is
is.
probably.
Oh,
What was
I
the first
guarantee-
flag Trump waved on the stage?
The
more
pride
pro-gay.
one.
Yeah, the ultra MAGA crowd does not quite understand Trump. All right, are we done here? Is this the end of this episode? What do we got?
Yeah, are you
100?
pooped?
This is how we're gonna end it.
No, I
Yeah.
mean we got something. Well, actually, you know what? Who's got the
You
video of
said-
the view? Anybody got that?
Yeah, we
We
got to
need
go
to
mean,
with
I
like
that.
just-
review.
I only have my TikTok. I don't know if you guys want to see that.
Well,
That's
where
all
was
I
I
got.
can find it.
Let me.
where
let me
where
see.
was the video that Mo put? Because that's just so fantastic. It's in the chat.
But we're gonna
someplace.
get
BTC
I
copyrighted
played it on
because
my
that's,
show today. Where did I?
that's
Find it?
Yeah.
entertainment tonight.
Oh God.
I played it. Where did I?
If it's
find
just
it?
copyright, does it matter?
For the view, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, copyright.
15 seconds. What is it? 15
All right,
seconds.
play
seconds.
Suni players then. You're good. Your head's in front of it, so they're like, oh, it's a black person. It's fine.
Thanks for take the hit.
The algorithm's like, there's two black people. Can't be the view. Can't be the view. Okay.
Abortion laws to guns by deputizing citizens to sue anyone involved in gun violence. So you sold an AR-15 at the gun show? See you in court. Does your neighbor have too big an arsenal? Call the cops. Actually, let's invoke some Supreme Court logic too. Alito says abortion's not in the Constitution. Well, neither are AR-15s. So I guess the Constitution doesn't cover them either. Life is so sacred, then stop using guns to abort young lives. And stop using guns.
And stop voting for Republicans.
No, don't stop voting for Republicans.
Yes.
But get better Republicans in there.
And this is why we should repeal the 19th. This is why. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed upon. which includes AR-15s.
Suni, that was
I
bellissimo, mucho
fucking love,
bellissimo.
dude. Joyce is like, and stop voting for Republicans. Like,
I
she's
can't
like,
believe- I
shut
can't
the
believe-
fuck
I
up.
can't believe Whoopi clapped back and said, "No, vote for." Like,
Yeah, because they're
Yeah, she
like,
got-
this is not
Yep.
in-kind contributions.
You know
this
what
is not a
happened?
political ad.
You know what happened, Russo?
what happened?
Whoopi said, I am sick of this white liberal bitch speaking over me. And she was like, excuse me. No, we're not going to not vote Republican. We just need better ones. Because you know what? Low key, I think Whoopi is definitely a Republican. Low
She
key.
probably has voted. She's probably sitting there like, these damn Democrats, they keep fucking with my EGOT money over here.
Yeah.
I just think I think it's amazing to me that millions of people watch a show of incompetent has-beens literally show how dumb they are. I mean, yes, we play their clips, we enjoy their clips because they're so funny, but we look at a talented crew like this, and you have 100 people watching, and then you've got these 5 biddies, and 4 biddies and one staged Republican. And I just don't understand how that show exists, and that I can't.
I know.
Because
And then we couldn't play the part where Sunny was like damn near crying.
It's because
horrible.
middle-class
She's
liberal
terrible.
women sit there and go, yes, I'm so sorry, Whoopi. This is on us. I'm so sorry. Like, that's what you get. Is the middle-class liberal women doing that shit.
Cardi B
Watching
should
The
join
View.
their show. I think, honestly, I think it would
I'd
be a
watch
little
it.
more entertaining if
I'd
Cardi B
watch
was
it.
on
I
there.
would rather you were on that show, Suni.
Oh,
They don't want me on
Who's
there.
the token
I would get
Republican
kicked
now?
off. I would get kicked off the first day.
there'd be a
No,
fight.
they're
You
gonna
would
end
bring
the
in-
show live.
Suni, you would bring in such good ratings. You think you would get kicked off, but you'd realize real quick, ratings are king. Cream. Always remember Cream. Cash rules everything around me.
Yeah, but there'd be an
Always.
assault charge on somebody, either Suni or one of them. Would finally jump on her. It'd be done.
And
They'd be like, we had
Suni
great
has
ratings.
caused a 14th
think so?
member of The View to
You think I
assault
would
her
fight for her?
mid-episode.
No, I don't know if
After
you'd fight or
saying
they'd fight.
Titties that can't make milk are for shitty women.
I'm
What?
picturing Joy Bayard. No, I'm picturing what's her name? Sunny.
Sunny.
Yeah,
I'm
Sunny
picturing
Day
Sunny
Harbor,
finally being
yeah.
like, Suni, no, you Suni, no, that is mother. I'm picturing shit changing real quick. I think that's pulled my shoulder.
They love
I don't
that
know, man.
cash money, though.
Try to-
They should
try to
bring you
get
on,
me-
Suni.
Try to get me on The View. I would go on The View just for the
I
hell
think
of it.
I
really
think
would.
you would honestly be amazing on The View, and like you'd think you stirred a lot of shit, but they'd come after and be like, "So, our ratings on this one have been pretty amazing. Like you've got
You wanna
13
come
million views, and like
No,
we here at NBC haven't had that in a year and a half. So
I think it's we all know that there's a monopoly on media. They will never have a personality such as mine on that show, because there are going to be times where I'm like, man, forget Republicans on this, they suck.
really, you're just
And
a
then there are
right-wing
times-
rookie.
What?
What did he say?
That was so disrespectful. Look,
What did he
you're
say?
banned from this show and you're muted. Don't you ever put me and Whoopi Goldberg in the same category.
Oh, come
Never.
on, child. Listen here, child. Come on, baby. No.
What is this black? What? Do you have like a suppressed black man in you? It comes out. I like it.
Who, me?
Yeah.
Oh, I was just doing my Whoopi Goldberg.
That was your
Just
Whoopi
have a
Goldberg?
conversation about this, child, because in all reality, we just got to get rid of the gun.
I think the only thing is, I think the only like black cultural thing Anthony's ever participated in was the Birth of a Nation, but that's on, you know.
I
That's
went
my
to a
opinion.
school that had DSEG. I got fucking picked on by black kids on my
DSEG?
football team.
What? What year were you born? Holy shit.
Right?
He really is hitting that like third quarter
you're-
life crisis.
Your school didn't have desegregation? Not segregation, desegregation.
No,
where they
I'm
busted
young, Anthony.
Say that again. I can't hear you. Say that-
desegregation, where you bust in the students from the city were bussed into our school.
Yeah, no, I'm
Oh,
young.
no.
My high school was 30%, 40% black.
No.
I'm a young
Uh-uh.
person. We didn't do that.
Well, you
I went
you
to
where'd
No,
you
they-
grow up?
They did
Where'd
that
you
here
grow
in
up?
Utah.
They still do it right now.
Where'd you grow up?
St. Louis, Chesterfield, Missouri.
I grew up in
Oh, I
fucking
don't know.
Los
It might be a
Angeles.
little different in
Oh.
Wow,
North
liberal ass
Carolina,
Los Angeles
because
did a good job of not busting anybody.
we went
You know
to,
what's fun- Sorry, go ahead, Zuni. My bad.
there were a lot of black kids in my school, but all the black kids that went to my school were like dumb rich.
Oh no! So we had county black kids, which might I add, when I see them on social media, they are the most liberal in the group, and they're like, "You guys don't know what it was like to be black and raised." I'm like, "You had a huge house, and I lived in a fucking." I was on free lunch, and you literally had a parent dropping you off in a Cadillac. Like, fuck off. Okay, you don't know what it was like. You were the fucking president of the cheerleading squad. Shut the fuck up. And I'm not kidding. I'm actually being serious about one of them. But no, we had that, and then we had and this is why, like, SUNY, like, when I had these conversations about systemic racism in the past, like, I went to one of the top public schools in all of the state of Missouri. We had 24 national merit scholars. I had a 3.7 GPA, and I was ranked 111th in my class.
Oh,
so like we had a ridiculously smart school. Here's the fucked up part. We had kids that went to Brown, Yale, all of them. So here's the issue. I see the city kids now, the black kids on social media, unable to write paragraphs, they're for the most part illegible. They went to the same school as us. They were part of the desegregation program. They brought them in, and what did they do? They put them in a class all by themselves and never challenged any of them, and never gave them a proper education. So I see them now, and it's like they're right back to the same communities. Desegregation did nothing for them. Instead of funding the schools that they was at, we put them on a bus for 4 or 5 hours a day, and it's like, yeah,
they
good.
We had
really
going
good
to the schools they were at then.
Right. We had good football teams, good basketball teams. Awesome.
Because that's all we're good for.
I mean,
is dribbling a ball and rapping, or throwing a damn football, or being on the track. No, that's literally what's marketed.
I used to get bullied by some of those kids.
You're saying the rappers today can actually do it?
What? Look, they got rhythm and they know how to put a rhyme to a beat. That's really all it takes now.
Most of
there
these
was a
rappers,
time when it was jazz music, but we didn't appreciate it enough, so we killed it. So
most of these rappers today, by the way, were the rich black kids in their schools, and they've just found a way to be like, oh, you know what? Fuck
which
one,
a
doctor.
I'm gonna put tattoos on my face so I back myself.
You're talking about drill rap? Nah, them niggas was broke.
No, but for real. No.
What does this say? Yes,
Tony's letting his old white man show.
I don't know what he means by that.
He's talking about my statement earlier when I said the rich black kids, talking about how oppressed they were. And
they don't know what it's like to be black. What
I mean,
so
capital B black, SUNY. Remember, this is CRT. This is the CRT.
I'm
black,
not going to assume what he means, because that would be me speaking for him. But Joe Biden said something that was really just disgusting about blacks, and he said we're not a diverse group of people. Well, I'm here to tell you, blacks are the most diverse people on the planet. And I'm talking about American blacks. You have some that grew up in West Bumfuck, and they will carry a rebel flag and not give two shits about it and dare you to say something about it. You got black folks that grew up like me. I kind of grew up in a city. I kind of grew up in a rural area. We were just hood. There's no getting around that. And then you have the affluent blacks. Like, there's so many different variations of an American black person. We don't all fit in one ridiculous stereotype.
SUNY, I will push back only on claiming that American blacks are the most diverse. It's Americans are the most diverse, because you will have white people that sit in the suburbs and they talk, and then you'll have other white people that grow up in a mountain and you can't even understand the name. They don't like. You will have diversity like extended throughout America in general, because that's just what it means to be American. Like, we are. The whole point was to have as local.
I'm just pushing back on liberals that feel like we all have the same outcome or origin. That's not true.
Yeah, no. Yeah, it's you don't know how to be anybody. A black person in Compton, California doesn't know what it's like to be a black person in St. Louis, Missouri, right? Like,
exactly.
Like,
completely different.
It's leagues different. Just like a black person born and raised in Bel Air doesn't know what it's like to be a white person born in the bumfuck trailer parks of Bakersfield, California, just 100 miles away. Like, it's not about skin color, it's about the environment that surrounds you.
I have a question before I go, because I gotta hop off and do my Instagram one. How come these school shooters don't go to the hood? You guys ever notice that? Like
No,
they
there's-
never
Because
go
they would get the
to
worst.
inner
That's
city
why.
schools
They
and
would get the
shoot shit
worst.
up.
Because they don't know
Why?
which kids are about to pull a fucking gun
Yeah,
out of
they-
their backpack and shoot back.
They've all got 9s on them.
So doesn't that look? That gives credence to our argument that when guns are around, it's less likely to have a situation like that. So maybe we should all be like the hood, and everyone should be armed.
not to say that doesn't come with its problems either.
I remember the point
How
I was
about
going to
we
make
just-
earlier. I remember. So Anthony, the difference is that in a society that respects the Second Amendment to the point where everybody has the right to a gun, you're going to have individual shooters capable of killing 10, 15, maybe even 20 people at a time. But you're not going to have a state capable of putting people in a train and sending them off to a camp to await their death.
I
in
agree.
the millions.
I am not going to disagree with you there.
So when it comes, which one do you want? Because those are the options.
I want to shut them up with a 2-hour class.
There's really no in between unless everybody accepts the in between. You either have you're resigned to the extremes, unfortunately, since one side is codified in law.
Does Grant realize we've been saying this for 18
Duh!
months, 100 episodes?
They don't. The vast majority of school shootings as they're recorded are actually drugs or gang related and occur when the school doesn't even have people in it. It just it's
light dawns on dumbass heads at one point or another.
He's had a couple
shit.
points that were on point, like when he agreed with me that civilians should have nukes.
Damn.
Yes, yes. That was an on-point statement. Okay.
If inner city shootings were televised, we wouldn't be watching anything.
We said mass.
Okay, so no.
Hold on. Let me.
All right.
Let me speak slowly for Grant. So what we said was is that
they do happen.
Mass school shootings don't happen because they're too busy shooting each other in the school. Like, what's up, Daquan? Punch the cap, man. What's going on? I'ma hit you. You fuck with my girl. Let's go. Bang, bang. And then the mass shooter's like, fuck that. They're doing it to themselves. Okay.
Oh my God. And that's why Anthony's taking a break.
That was such a white supremacist take.
Because I said
you
Daquan.
saw him get nationalist earlier, not me.
No.
You saw him get nationalist earlier.
Because you said, well, fuck that. They're doing it themselves. I'm like, damn.
That wasn't me that said that. That was Grant Bull's voice that said that. That wasn't me.
Sounded like Steve Urkel, who was black, which means that you are a freaking,
Grant,
racist.
Have you ever been to the hood, bro? Look,
No.
I know hella people with guns, man, and it's nothing to go get a $20 pistol.
We don't remember the last time 20 kids were killed.
Come on, man. The bottom line is these people aren't gonna go to these areas because they know what the fuck is up. Because it is on local news every weekend. It's just not put on a mainstream media stage for everyone to see. So it's kind of like fuck around and find out. I would love, actually, let me not even say that because I don't want to see a school shooting happen there. But if it did, I bet you that motherfucker would be ended in 2 seconds before he could even get going because somebody in that school got a gun and they letting them off.
Yeah.
Dude, where I grew up in on the south side of Chicago, Washington Park, it was like a one. I don't know what it is now. I think it was like a 1 in 30 chance of you becoming like a victim of a violent crime. Like that's how violent it was there. Like seriously. And I grew up there. You know, I was there when I was a little kid. I was there. You know, then we moved to California. But like, I challenge people that want to talk about this shit to go to places like that and spend 2 days, 24 hours,
bro.
2 days,
and see if you can handle that shit. That's your gun course that Russo wants you to take. Go spend it in Washington Park on the corner of Midway and West 5th. You get fucking real quick.
Hey, that might be a solution, Russo.
Hey,
how many people do you think would do it?
Zero.
No, the minute you get dropped off and look around, you're gonna be like, "Get me the fuck out of here."
That was
wait, real quick. So we've come up with a lot of solutions, but Russo, seeming as how you've placed yourself as the one that can answer this question.
No, I have not seen Top Gun yet.
What is the final solution?
The final solution is to fucking have a little grace with people that have a different fucking opinion. That's the solution.
That was a different solution than the other guy
That's
came up with.
different.
But I like it.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah,
solution,
I agree with
but that's
that.
not what you
Nobody's
said.
getting the final. God.
That's not what you said
I mean,
earlier.
again, I have suggestions. I don't think they're a
No,
solution.
the
I
final
think the
solution was
the
like
ultimate solution is to
the
realize
Hitler thing.
to realize that, you know what, we're all going to have different opinions on what can actually put a Band-Aid on this really shitty problem of mental health. And that is one thing that I will say. This is a family. This is a parenting. This is a mental health. This is a lockdown. This is a fucking 2022 problem. It's not about guns. Guns just so happen to be what is being used the most. And that's the biggest thing I have to say.
I agree with that.
I
think that's fair.
What was the last thing I was gonna say? We gotta, let's just,
See, I'm not so stubborn, man.
So I'm gonna see Top Gun tomorrow night.
We got a special viewing because we're military.
I want to see it real bad. I've heard great things about it.
I've heard one bad review and then 100 other great reviews.
Everybody's
bad
like,
review, really?
It's great pro-America shit. It just had a massive opening weekend, 164 million.
It's mental hair.
Go woke, you go broke, you go American, you get turned.
Hey, one more. I'm sorry, Grant. You keep me sucked in with these asinine comments you make. So look, we have socialized medicine in the military, and we have so many people with mental health issues. And you know what happens? We get prescribed fucking Motrin. So miss me with the universal health care that fixes nothing. There's still nothing that incentivizes them to actually fix a problem because everything is fucking free. And you know what that means? They don't answer to a board. They don't answer to the damn unions. They answer to no one because we're all together. It's just one big clusterfuck of a medical. Thank you. How's my knee? You know what they said? Hey, we're not going to give you a CT right now, but you can go to physical training and fuck your knee up even more. That's what you can do. And when it's messed up to the point of no return, then we'll do a CT scan on you and try to go in and fix it and probably cause more damage.
Yup.
I was on the phone with Suni almost every time she went to the ER and heard it for myself. So
there is no solution besides people taking mental health serious and not affirming freaking trannies walking around saying they can be a paper clip when they're clearly human. That's how you fix that, by being real with people and telling them, hey, you might be a little fucked up upstairs, but you're not going to. Universal health care is not going to fix it, man. So many people are screwed up in the military. It's not even funny. Like, I was on the verge of tears. I went live. I told people, look, when I go in this doctor's office, this is what they're going to tell me. Nobody believed me. I was on the verge of tears.
No, yeah.
Because they don't do anything to fix your fucking problems, man. They put a Band-Aid on it and hope it gets better.
They took a year and a half to diagnose my back problem that would have been diagnosed with a simple MRI right away. Like, no, socialized medicine is not the answer. When we talk about mental health problem, the question becomes, what is different? What has changed? Why are we committing these mass shootings at so much higher level than we ever did in our history? Why is mass slaughters happening at a level that we've never seen before?
Video games.
And then we ask the question, wait a second. No, because I'm going to follow this up. We ask the question, wait a second. Is it really the case that we're seeing these at higher? No, because there was a point in time where, the average 18-year-old was being brought up, in his time when syphilis was everywhere. Their dad was going to die by the age of 40. Their mother had 7 children because 6 of them would die. There was a time when things were actually difficult. No, it doesn't work in every other country. What country had the single largest mass killing of school children ever? It's not America. I'll give you a hint.
I can't.
Do you know what happened? Do you know what happened in Finland, Grant, when a man rowed a boat to the middle of an island where there was a school and killed? I think it was 54 or 154 children. I can't remember.
Grant, I gotta go. I can't take you. Ask the people in Venezuela. Ask the people in Canada. Ask the people. Where else has universal health care? There's another country that's really bad.
No,
Puerto Rico
UK,
has a-
France, Germany,
UK.
doesn't fucking matter.
Puerto Rico has it.
UK's tax rate is over 50%.
Okay.
Yeah, no,
So-
the UK, like,
Go to
you
their
would not have gotten
countries,
seen for
all
months.
right? Matter of fact, come to Japan and ask them how they like it. Ask them how it feels having to wait 5-6 months dealing with something growing out of the side of your fucking body while you have to wait for a referral.
Yeah.
Shut up.
And by the way,
Objective
people in
standards for an
people in
objective
other
measurement.
countries love their socialized medicine because they have no choice but to love it.
Yeah.
Thank you. There's a Canadian in here right now, and he's proving you wrong.
Suni, before you go, because this is
Yeah.
pertaining to military. So the event that I did in San Antonio, and I was just talking to her today, and I got to read through her text messages because now she has gotten the same letter. So her husband was a Black Hawk helicopter pilot. He was in his barracks, got blown out of the room. This is a decade ago, got blown out of the room and had a traumatic brain injury. But because, so it's essentially socialized medicine, you got to go back and fight. They forced him to fight that night. He got in his helicopter, did his thing, rattled his brain around and served.
Wow.
Came back, started with migraines. 2 weeks later, he finally got discharged because he had to go to the hospital, all these different things, whatever. He finishes his enlistment. He goes home. Everything is going great. He still has PTSD. And then all of a sudden, bam, he starts feeling real sick. He goes in. He's got a brain tumor. He's got cancer in his brain. It just so happens to be located exactly where the injury is, which is what doctors have said and have signed papers. It is connected to that TBI that happened while serving. She has just gotten her 5th letter of refusal for and he died. He passed away 2 years ago. She has gotten her 5th refusal letter from the VA on benefits for his death. 5th. And she's provided research, she's provided documents, she's provided signed paperwork from our military. And this is part of socialized medicine.
That's sad. I mean, unfortunately, that's not an uncommon story. That is almost everyone's experience with the VA or dealing with military medicine. TRICARE is good if you can get to a private company or a private doctor.
If you can use the community.
Or if you need to go to the ER that's not on a base, you're good. The insurance is amazing. But the aspect of free healthcare where you don't pay for anything, it sucks.
Yep.
It sucks. My meniscus is torn. The doctor told me it was torn, but because I didn't meet one last threshold, I can't get an MRI. So they would rather me fuck it up even more for them to have to go dig in my knee than them fix it right here, right now.
Is that is that socialized healthcare, or is that because you're Black?
No.
It's both.
Dang.
I kid.
It's like, no.
All right.
It's having experienced it myself, it's fucking trash.
Let's wrap the show up. Suni, go ahead and give some final words.
Hey, let's not be in love with our own opinions. I don't think that this situation in Texas was something that was foreseen or something that was, people are calling it false flags. Listen, this police station was unequipped and very unprepared to handle this, and it showed. So hopefully they'll use this as a cautionary tale for smaller cities to be prepared. Don't ever think it won't happen in your city. Make sure you have these tools and make sure people are actually paying attention to what's going on with the budget, the city manager, because they allocate all the funds. Pay attention to what's happening locally.
Just a reference to Grant. That's how we do our healthcare in the United States right now. Anyways,
Duh.
and then to Suni's point, real quick, you did say that they were inequipped. Would you say that they were? Never mind. I'm not gonna make a joke about a not funny situation. I was gonna do like a whole, when a white guy dates a girl that only dates black guys beforehand and then goes. Anyways, go ahead. Speaking of inequipped downstairs, Kevin, what do you got?
Wow.
Yeah, inequipped downstairs. That is literally my name on OnlyFans.
Wow. I think I'm gonna check out right here.
Final words,
but
Kevin,
no. I just never give in to the black pill. I give in to the white pill only, and that's not because I'm racist, but because I'm an optimist. we are at a crux with our gun policies, and I still maintain that the best thing we can do is to continue to reaffirm the rights the founding fathers established. The Bill of Rights exists independent of the Constitution of the United States for a reason, because we have inherent to being humans rights. And my view is just that we are growing in power as people. Change is always in the wind. Machiavelli says so himself. And I think we're in the middle of something. So if you want to hear more from me, Common Nonsense every morning at 7 o'clock Mountain Time, 1360 KHNC. You can find it on Apple, working on Spotify and the other ones.
And you can listen to never-ending soliloquies.
Wonderful, because I only get interrupted by my advertisers.
True story. Casey, go ahead.
Yeah, well, good show, guys. I on the topic, I agree with Suni. Yeah, they needed more training and they were not prepared for the situation. But overall, since this is our 100th episode and Russo's gonna bail on us, we're not gonna let you back. So
yeah, adios, Russo, forever.
Can't come back.
Can't come back.
Hit the road, Jack.
Don't
you come back no more.
Dang.
Mo, what do you got?
I certainly agree with Sudi. Don't be in love with your own opinions. Be willing to, admit that you were wrong or you could have thought about something a little bit better. Please, people, slow down. Like, there's so much information going through Instagram and Facebook and whatever, Twitter and all this other stuff. And you can very easily get pulled down a rabbit hole of complete disinformation. But also it can hurt a lot of people. Sometimes we have to be a little bit more conscious of other people who are actually really close to situations like the one we were just discussing and how it affects them. So yeah, just step back for a second. Just learn to be quiet. Like, we got to learn to just be quiet. Not everything deserves commentary.
Instant commentary.
Speaking of being quiet, that's how we'll wrap up
Grant
the show.
Bull, jeez.
Yes, a picture of a bunch of guns and body armor. Because I'm not gonna lie with you, there is a lot of families that have the same thing that probably shouldn't take this on. There's also a lot of people on their social media, and I'll use the same name as I used earlier, named Daquan, with a few gats on his photos. That guess what? He's not equipped to actually do anything.
Bro, you gonna quit throwing black folks in this damn equation with these ratchet ass names.
No, I also said families with all of their guns. Just because their 8-year-old is holding a rifle.
You need to say Bob or Jimmy. Or
look at little Billy Bob. Isn't he cute?
Craig over there.
He cute with that rifle right there? He took down a deer. Like, okay.
Little Clarence.
It doesn't make them.
His parents are Clarence, and he went to high school.
Oh my god. Grant Bull,
I got it coming.
2 parents.
I love you guys. Russo, you'll be back.
I know. I'll be back a little bit. We'll see how long, and you'll see me obviously in the things. But anyways, guys, you know what? God bless. Hopefully I'll see you guys soon enough. I'll be doing these little spot videos. If you want to support anything that I do, of course, with Blunt Force. Nope, wrong picture. Just to throw out there of things we're not allowed to talk about anymore. Gonna go with Blunt Force discussion. Go ahead and try to support me if you can. I'll put the Patreon right there. Give me a little help. I want to get this thing launched. Have some big guests. We've got what's his face?
Chad Prather.
Chad Prather is the first one. I've been using way too many words this week. Anyways,
can we go out with a bang?
What do you want?
With a bang? All right, I found the world's
okay.
No, not that.
Okay.
We don't need to see that until Mo shaves it.
Okay.
But I came across someone who deserves the dumbest meme award for 2022.
Yeah,
this is the dumbest meme of the year. I can't believe how many people share this. Let me show the audience on IG. I can't believe how many idiots decided to share this whack ass meme, bro. Go sit down in your basements, because these are the people that live in their basements, probably have never shot a gun, and don't even understand tactics, just like most people don't when they're not aligned or friends with police or military. Shut up.
Fair. If you like any of our gear, go to awakenotwokestore.com. Suni's got some Jesus Win shirts on there that are now
Go
up,
get a Jesus Win shirt.
We got Fight Against Tyranny. We've got the Awake hats, etc. And with that said, piss off to the social media worlds. But I love you all, except for Grant. You crawl in a hole and die.
I love you,
no,
Greg.
just
Thank
crawl in
you
a hole.
for coming to our videos.
He said crawl in a hole and die.
Nope, didn't finish the word. I did not finish
Oh.
the word. I
I
said die.
love you,
You were
Greg.
talking
Thank
about
you for
dyeing his
talking
hair.
your shit.
Okay, I got you.
There we go.